hello and welcome to GPVWC's coverage of the Superleague Canadian Grand Prix 2015. We're here at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit for 70 laps even of high-octane action around this beautiful chicane fest of a circuit. My name is Simon Smith, and as ever I'm never alone. I'm dragging various people kicking and screaming. We have cameraman extraordinaire Quinton Plain doing all of the artwork for you on your screens. And alongside me, as always, is Thomas Hinds. How you doing, Tom?
Welcome to the broadcast, everybody. Yeah, doing well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this race a lot, to be honest. Being Canada, there could be a lot of chances for overtaking here. It can really throw in a bit of the spanner in the works with so many chances. And yeah, with development being a bit interesting this round, a lot of people are quite even in the cars. It's going to make things a bit of a toss-up, which is like what we always like to see, I think.
I always enjoy a toss-up, and that will do me no harm at all, especially if I have a salad nearby. Quick shout out to Ollie Woods, who's going to be standing in for me this evening because I was having some issues getting here. But he's gone off to enjoy some din-dins, I think. So big cuddles for you, Ollie. We love you. We've just come to the end of the qualifying session. Lewis Redshaw has got pole position for CSG with a 1:14.670. Very, very close times. The top 16 under a second, which I think is a new record for us, especially this season. All the way down to the both of the Nijos inside that. We have a grid of 28 drivers looking rather primed and tickled and interested. There's some interesting names on the grid as well for some last minute alterations around. The main thing though is that Philip Pushka, our championship leader, is back after missing the Monaco Grand Prix due to some technical issues. He's back behind the wheel and certainly looking quite fired up to make sure that he keeps that lead essentially that he's got, which is very small at the moment. He's currently in top step on 101 points. David Fiduk is in second on 93, but it's good to see him back.
Yeah, indeed. It's always good to see the championship leader returning to keep his lead in check. Obviously missing Monaco with personal commitments and so on. Oh no, I think it was the wheel problem, wasn't it? And yeah, so he's back, sorted that out, and he's here again, which is going to be good to see. And yeah, I'm interested to see this race because a lot of guys, they are very close in the times, as we said, down to 17th even. I mean, even the Green Stripes Sandy was, I think, about 1 second off, which, by the way, that car has gotten some upgrades for this round, so it's not as far as off the pace it has been this season. Yay, celebrations! So it's good to see. So hopefully we'll be seeing some good results from Green Stripes, but a lot of people mixed up again, as we always had. You had Torrance up there, Vodball, CSG, Hawkeye, Red Archer, Simcraft, you name it, they're all in there. So the usual shaggery of randomness here in this season of Super League, which personally I quite like.
Absolutely, and we love that. Some other interesting changes that are afoot are we have some big changes over at Hawkeye. Hawkeye are basically running some temporary drivers. One of them, you may know very well, Nick Rowland has just dived into the car at the very last minute. Marcus Riffle was there, and it's just been bumped aside for Nick Rowland to come in and take the seat. So that's all very last secondaroo for that, alongside teammate David Fiduk. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes on. We also have Jack Mayer making his debut for Super League and the target car, so quite a bit off the pace of everyone else, but just getting himself up to speed and playing in nicely. The other one, Ollie Pelkonen, back in at target after being moved around from his previous team as well, so lots there. Adonis have got James Johnson back in the car after he missed Monaco, so he's in there too. And there was one other at Torrent. Jordan Weeks has appeared at that team, having Peter Kaza left the team, so all kind of secret squirrel on the seats, isn't it? What was that game that you play as kids where you have to go around and then sit on a seat and the last one's left?
Oh, damn it.
Send us in a tweet if you remember that. Because all I've got in my head at the minute is Ring of Roses, and that's just death by plague.
It's always good, Jordan.
Musical chairs, thank you, Quinton.
That's it, musical chairs.
Our silent assassin on the cameras, keeping us in check. And yeah, musical chairs. I tell you what, that's been goddamn disco R&B trip hop chairs going on in between the last two races. So any particular... and Marcus Riffles then appeared in the Adonis. So he started off in a Hawkeye, didn't set a time in qualifying, and now has reappeared in an Adonis. So who actually knows what's going on? Who knows?
It's all very last minute. It seems a lot of people, not a lot of people, a few people missing out this race, and they're having to fill in the seats at the last minute, so it's all a bit hectic. But yeah, should have a full field hopefully. But yeah, in terms of looking out for people, I'm actually quite interested to see how the green stripes go now that their car is semi-competitive. So I'm not going to go as far as saying it's massively competitive because it's not quite there yet, but it's looking, better. So I'm interested to see how Sandeep goes, especially Sandeep. He showed good pace and consistency at Monaco, so we're watching Sandeep closely to see if he can carry that car through some good results. And judging from his pace in qualifying, I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe knocking on the door of points. Outside of that, I'm thinking Woods maybe, because Jarl, of course, Jarl Tiernan, that's another one he's returned for Woods. Hopefully he's sorted those connection issues he's been dealing with for the first few races of the season. But, again, he was on the pace. I believe he was 13th in qualifying, so in the top 15. I want to look out for him. Maybe he can get some good points for Woods, because I know that they would definitely need them.
Yes, they definitely do. In the battle down at the rear end of the championship for the constructors, it's been very, very tricky for the back five teams, essentially, to see what they're up to in the championship. Let's just take a wee look at that. We have Philip Pushka leading the way. Just a quick word. Mark Wicks will be starting from the pit lane after taking a Park Ferme reset. So never rains but it pours for Wixie. Philip Pushka then on 101 points, ahead of David Fidek on 93, Lewis Redshaw on 89. Augustin Canapino is on 68, ahead of Fran Lopez and Alex Cooper on 64 apiece, and a gap back to Florian Geyer in 7th on 46, Misselis on 38, Sven de Vries on 35, alongside Petter Kassa, who has already withdrawn from this event and for the foreseeables as well. In the constructors, it's CSG just 1 point clear of Vodball Racing and Nordzone, 118 to 117 to 117, and Hawkeye on 113. So clearly we've got a little quintet at the top there. 2 on Potentia engines, 1 on Valiant and 1 on Martech, so I find that interesting too. Red Archer aren't far back in 5th, ahead of Midnight in 6th, then a gap back to Target and Torrent. Then Adonis is in 9, and Woods currently in 10th, but just 1 clear of Nijo, who are clearly looking a little bit more feistier this evening with their upgrades too. Along with Phoenix, Green Stripes and Kerno, everyone of the teams now scored after Monaco. And it seems to be a little bit of we've now got the first third of the season out of the way. What are we going to do with this middle section?
Yeah, indeed. And just pointing just on talk of upgrades, I do have them here, so I'll just quickly have a little run through of them. It's Nijo and Volball at the moment that do have the best upgrade package in terms of the upgrades. And then it's CSG, I believe, and next. No, actually, it's Norjone. There's a whole most of the teams there, I'd say about 8 teams or so, are all within about 340 to 380, so they're all very, very close on upgrades. And then it's a bit of a gap back to Midnight and the Woods. They're on 315, 312 respectively. And then it's Green Stripes on 247. So they're still not the best developed car out there, Green Stripes, but they're not as far behind now, as they received a good couple of upgrades for this round. So keep an eye on them, as I said, to maybe be a bit more competitive. And with everyone so close, I mean, honestly, I think it could be pretty much anyone's game here because the cars are very closely developed at this point of the season.
Been given word that Kenny Lybeer too has just had to reset his car setup, so he's going into Parc Ferme as well. So clearly, this Canadian Grand Prix causing a shenanigan in general. It is fascinating now that we approach the middle section of the season. We've got some interesting courses that are coming up. All of them are generally the faster circuits out here. Canada's fast. You've got Silverstone is fast. The A1 ring, a lot of time in straights and faster corners. Hungary is the anomaly in this. Then you've got Belgium and Spa. Belgium and Spa, they're the same thing. Spa and Monza, again, the faster, more flowing circuits. So we're really into these circuits now which allow the car to run free and the driver to be really in full force behind a real bucking bronco, as opposed to the more pointy, squirty, stoppy starts that we had at the start of the season. I wonder if that will play to anyone's driving style, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree. I think it'll definitely we might see a few changes and a few differentials in, people doing well and people struggling a bit at certain tracks. I think the one main test in my mind is always Spa. Honestly, I think that always is one of the greatest tests of driver because it is just such a amazingly fun track for one thing, and also it's just such a technical track. It's got the slow stuff at the start of the sector with the source, and then you've got the middle sector being very fast and throwing through all that area, and then you've got the fast sort of last sector into the bus stop chicane. So it's got pretty much everything you want in a track, really, all sorts of the corners that you want, and I think it really, really tests the drivers. So yeah, I would agree that the different types of tracks will see different people doing well and doing not so well. I think I don't know how extreme it'll be. I don't think it'll be massively extreme, if I'm honest, but I do think that we might see a bit of a change of guard, perhaps, depending on what track we're looking at.
Changing of guard is something we enjoy doing on the social medias. So don't forget to send in your tweets at GPVWC live or using the hashtag GPVWC live. Either one will get you picked up by me with my bead little eyes. Tonight's question on the social medias is essentially what's going on a track, but also if you how have you told your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, significant other that you're a sim racer? How did that go down? What was the reaction to it? I'm just curious because Smith is venturing out into the dating scene, and so far I've used it as a bit of a I do sim racing and I do commentating and I'm generally rubbish. And my purple and yellow snail car is great, and you can kind of see like the fear in their eyes. So I'd be quite interested to know how other people have dealt with that across time. So do
Yeah,
send in your tweets at GPVWC Live.
yeah, indeed. I guess I'll. On my note, well, I know, well, being me and being Pinsy, I guess, girlfriend not a thing. Unfortunately for me, I'm far too uncool for that. But
Have a dole.
yeah, in terms of just, damn it, it's just too stressful. In terms of, in terms of people in general, I tend to just kind of gloss over the fact and just sort of, unless I know them quite well, I tend to just kind of not say anything because a lot of the time I'll say, "Oh yeah, I do this sim racing thing and commentate, and I'm up at 4 in the morning," and they just sort of go, "Okay, I've got things to do, so I'll just go over here. Goodbye, sir. It's nice to meet you," and they just kind of walk away. So tend to kind of avoid it. But yeah, no, it depends on the person. I'll be honest, because I have told a few people and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." I'm like, "Cool, thanks for appreciating it." So yeah, it's always nice when they can appreciate the enjoyment we have for this.
Definitely, definitely. I do agree with that. I suppose only a certain amount of people will be excited at the pull up, the chat up line of coming to see my cockpit. I suppose we'll see. Nice homogulated cockpit for your sim racing. Anyway, we are now approaching the end of the warm-up session, as you can tell, by our just general complete divergence off of the subject entirely.
That's what I've talked about. I'm really interested to see how this goes because it seems that the closeness of the season so far is sort of still here, which is interesting. Even though upgrades have really taken effect now, we're still having really close races and really close times, which I think is really good to see. So I'm keen to see how this will all play out during the race because being in being Montreal, plenty of chances to overtake.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
That's the end of the wonderful R-Factor man. It seems that he's a bit of a craze in the old booth. I thought I'd just lost someone there. Oh, it was David Fiduk had gone to track and then has gone back into the garage, so I don't know if he's done something wrong, but he's got about 6 seconds to fix it. And he has done with 3 to go. I was a bit worried then. Let's take you around on the formation lap around this Montreal circuit. Lewis Redshaw then in pole position for CSG, doing another fine job there. The runner-up for 2014, Philip Pushko, back in the booth, is alongside for Oddball Racing in second position of Oddball, sorry. And happy birthday to the team boss, actually, Mr. Pittman. Big cuddles to you, sir. David Fidek, third position for Hawkeye, ahead of Jordan Weeks, fourth for Torrent Motorsports. And I think that's another great shout out for Jordan in his new team, clearly excelling from strength to strength. Devidus Missilus in fifth for Red Archer, ahead of Rude Heasterbeek, sixth for Vodball. Again there, Mr. Substitute. Then the two Midnights of Tom Vandervoort ahead of Alex Cooper this time. I think that's the first time this year we've seen that one. Tom Parker, 9 for CSG. Augustin Canapino, 10th for Norgzo. I think that's the lowest we've ever seen him. Ahead of teammate Florian Geyer in 11th. Then Mindergaus Columbus is in 12th. Yotayan is 13 for Woods Racing. Ahead of Bart DeVos, rounding out the top 14 and top half of the grid for Kerno, and a good effort for him.
Indeed, and then it's Miko Tumala for Nijo. He's 15th and 16th, but oops, sorry, a little bit of lag. But Kenny Libby is starting from the pit lane, of course, so he won't be in 16th. Next up is Sandeep Choda for Greenstripes in 17th. It's, I would say, one of their best results of the season, qualifying wise. JJ James Johnson. It's Kieran Ryan. Oops, sorry, a bit of lag there again, but Kieran Ryan in 19th for Phoenix, followed by Roy Schroten in the Woods. DeWalt Nell 21st, Greenstripes. Pelkonen, the replacement driver for Target, 22nd. Mikko Yakinen for Phoenix is 23rd. Mark Wicks again starting from the pit lane, so he's not there in 24th. That's why he's not in the formation lap. It's Jack Mayer in his debut for Target in 25th. Marcus Riffle, 26th for Adonis. Fran Lopez, 27th for Red Archer. Of course, look out for him to maybe charge to the field after coming off penalties from Monaco. That's why he's down 27th. And then last, but definitely not least, is Nick Rowland in 28th in the Hawkeye.
Be interesting to see how Nick Rowland goes in a different environment to what he normally is in, and also probably with very little, if no, practice beforehand at all. I thought he had left GPVWC, but he is back. So it is true that bug bite of sim racing doesn't leave you without for long. Plenty of smoke on that start-finish line.
That's smoky tires.
Smoke in a pancake, but here they come. The lights then for the Canadian Grand Prix, about to kick off here. GPVWC 2015, the lights are out and we're racing! Off and away goes Redshaw, off and away goes Fidek. Pushka battles down very slowly, and that's actually made it very easy for them.
No.
Oh! And there's Vandervoort there clipping round Missilus and Co, and there's all problems behind as they slowly pull themselves down. Both Vodballs off, Pushka and Heasterbeek, as well as Parker as well in problems there for CSG. Torrent Motorsports, Jordan Weeks again down to the back, and Tom Vandervoort off at the next corner too in problems, and someone else has lost their front wing too, and that's, it's a DeWalt Nell's teammate there in the green stripe, Sandeep Choda, no front wing for him. That happened at turn 3. All dramas there on the opening few corners, but it's Redshaw, Fidek, Canapino, Cooper, Geyer, Columbus, Tyan, DeVos, Tumala and Schroten, your top 10 at the moment. All carnage on these opening corners.
Yeah, indeed. I actually just looked back at the replay, I'm afraid. So I think it was Parker who may have sort of initiated that turn 1 shenaniganry, gave Vandervoort a tap down to turn 1, and that's what sent everyone around, and he hit Vandervoort, and then he hit onto the guy ahead and just kind of snowballed from there. So that's what it looked like from what I saw. So a big shame there for Parker, but he's trying to come through now, but they're trying to get past Jack Mayer now in his debut there, and that's Fran Lopez trying to go around the outside, so there's a bit of a battle there. It's for 16th. It is Redshaw leading. Oh,
contact there for 10th position. Roy Schroten, they're being pushed up there by Mikhail Tumala as they made contact into the hairpin. End chicane. Tumala up to 9, then Schroten down to 10. He's got Ollie Pelkonen round the outside for Target. Can he make it round in turn 1? No, nearly spins off at the same time. Then it's Kieran Ryan there just being overtaken by Devidus Missilus at 12-13. Roland 14 from the last on the grid. Great manoeuvres through there. Head of Heasterbeek and Co, and there's more carnage down at turn 3. As Schroten there went to town with Pelkonen. It didn't quite work out, and Missilus looks like he wants to take advantage. Roland goes for Kieran Ryan. Oh, he stuck his nose right up on the inside, leans on Kieran Ryan's tyres for 13th and 14th. Wasn't able to do anything on it. He's going to fall potentially into the clutches of Rude Heasterbeek. Goes to chop him off, goes one way, then the other. Pelkonen's off the track there, trying to get round one of the other cars ahead. This is all looking like it's about to cause carnage, and it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Into the pits at the end of lap 1 were Troda, and that was it. Weeks and Libia there have rejoined on the back.
And I tell you what, this racing is just, it's something else. It really is. It's a little bit all over the place here. What are you going to remember, of course, is because of that turn 1 shenaniganry. fast guys trying to come through the field and getting through the guys who are a little bit slower on pace than them. So that's why there's a lot of sort of dodging around here, as all the fast guys are trying to sort themselves out. Oh, down to the hairpin. I mean, chicane, that's down in 13th. It's very close between Ruud Hiesterbeek and Kieran Ryan as they all fight away to the back end of the 10. That's probably your closest battle now. Is now Pelkonen under pressure for 11th from Gen. See if he goes, Pelkonen goes wide, Missless is through. Oh, a bit of contact as they try and sort themselves out. But a bit of contact again. Oh no. Oh, nearly went round, but he manages to hold on to it. Pelkonen drops down to 12th. He's now got Ruud Hiesterbeek trying to come back through after the turn one shenaniganry. I'll tell you what, that is one angry pack right there in the midfield.
It is indeed. Mindegaus Columbus flouted the wall exit in the final chicane, and that allowed Yao Tyan to get through up into 6th position. So that's a change for 6th as they go on. Roy Schroten's actually got a graphical bug on his woods. The wheel hasn't collapsed. He is still going in one piece, as here comes Hiesterbeek on Pelkonen. And what Davidus Misselis needs to remember is to make the one move and then stick by it, not then go back onto his racing line and start chopping people off, because that will cause no end of rage. But basically, Misselis is now Pelkonen. Oh, contact! Roland's round! That was coming from a long time off in that group. Oh, and then Roland spin turns back into the riffle. What on earth was that? I've got no idea, but for someone who is that experienced, you should know better. I only caught the back end of it, so I don't want to judge completely, but that looks a bit clumsy as a schlumsy as Pelkonen there under attack in 12th position. Here comes Tom Parker through. He's kind of picked his way back through the field. Pelkonen makes one move. He now needs to stick with it. Parker's going to have to go to the outside. He's going to be last of the late breakers. Yes, he is round the outside. Pelkonen there squeezing him out. Parker saying no! Through he goes, up into 12th position. He had to get all of his angry muscles out there, as does Ruud Hiesterbeek in 15th from Kieran Ryan. He goes through, Ryan down to 16th position. Next up from Fran Lopez, who's had the pair of them in the previous lap. Such is the force of change that's going on. Behind them, Tom Vandervoort recovering along with Philip Pushka too, and Pushka's thinking championship. So he doesn't always stick his rear in there, and I do think that's a bit naughty that they're trying to tap people and unsettle the cars on the entry to that chicane. Kieran Ryan there just says, no, I'm not letting you through. Fran Lopez there nearly crashes off, and I could see that one coming from a long way off.
It is, sorry to delay that, but yeah, it is Kieran Ryan. We know how much he fights for position, so he's a very hard one to pass, but Pushka looks like he's going to get him down the inside of the hairpin, and yep, gets him done now. Vanderbilt probably as well, but there's an angry pack now midfield, I must say. It's been very aggressive racing so far, I'll give him that. But one thing to note, by the way, is Jordan Weeks in 20th, so unfortunately he's had more bad luck, again, being involved in that turn one shenaniganry. So honestly,
Vandervoort and Pushka! And that was a weird one. Vandervoort was on one side, Pushka just seemed to push across almost as if he wasn't there. There's more contact on the exit, and that's Weeks off! And into the wall! No! Jordan, no! Oh, the poor guy. Through goes Riffle, Johnson, Yakinen. There comes Mayer, who's sunk to the back, and Jordan Weeks retires with suspension failure. He's the first one out in all of that. Exits the game immediately, and I can quite frankly say exactly why. That's bubbling over. And there's drivers there that are proper, like steaming the brakes and sliding out of corners, and it's causing issues as Ollie Pelkonen in 13th position continues to bottleneck these cars up. Now it's Hiesterbeek, Lopez and Pushka, and the problem for this is that the VOD balls could very easily take each other out if they're not careful. Pelkonen goes for it again, chops off Hiesterbeek. He's being so aggressive into some of those braking areas. He's got the right to do so, but here comes Lopez down the outside. What can he do? Nope, he's going to be blocked in by Pelkonen, who's slower, but Pelkonen misses the opportunity at all, goes through, up on side by side. Hiesterbeek there actually loses out in the second phase of the acceleration. Now he's coming back through again. Just up ahead, Parker is busy passing Yao Tyan, who's dropped down to 12th, so he's been off the track because he was in 6th before. And through goes Hiesterbeek, or does he? No, Pelkonen takes to the escape road. Hiesterbeek has to go through. Pushka takes to the escape road too, doesn't lose any places. And look at Hiesterbeek, he's going, look, let me through. You kept that position through no particular means except for cutting.
This really is incredible stuff. This is just an explosion, really, isn't it? Compared to the first race of the season, this is just something else. I'm going to forecast angry form after this, if this is anything to go by. It really has been something else in this race. But he's to be going to try again. yeah. I'll get the kit and gifts ready to go here. But look at that, there you go. Pelkonen makes a mistake. This gives Hiesterbeek a chance around the outside. He leaves the room. No, he doesn't. He gives him a tap. What is this? That's
bumper
just...
cars, peeps. Goodness sake. Through goes Lopez. He's going to have a go as well. Nope, it's the unsettling of the car is the thing that I have the
Oh.
problem with open wheelers. Now we're going to go 2 wide. Is it going to go 3 wide? Look
Oh,
at where
no.
Vanderbilt's trying to get through. Pelkin last of the late breakers. Kieran Ryan tries to stick his oar in too. 5 coming out of the chicane. Nick Rowland sitting there going, where? Watch, wait for you to all have your carnage, and I'll have the lot of you. Out they come, back down the home straight again. It's just as bad further up the field. Look at this 9 and 8 position. Bart DeVos going for Schroeter.
no.
Schroeter's round! Schroeter's round! Parker takes it. Schroeter into the wall for Woods. The Woods car strikes again. Is anyone going to clip him on the exit? No, they're well behaved. Schroeter stays out of the way. Thank Christ for that. That's the first bit of normal driving I've seen these last couple of laps. Missilis, though, got round Tom Parker for 9 and 10. Heasterbeek's got round Pelkin and is away and through. And Vandervoort and Lopez, they're battling for position side by side. It's all a bit of a drama. And we've just had her, well, I'll call it a tweet. Mike Phillips there just tweeting and saying this isn't the racing that we expect. No, it's not. This is dogged bumper car touring cars in open-wheeled action, and it needs to sort itself out as Pushka nearly pushes Lopez off into the barriers.
Yeah, this really is something else. I'm really amazed. Pelkin nearly taking off Vanderbilt on the grass there. This is just the aggression levels, I think, are way too high here. It really is. And he pushes Vanderbilt into the wall. This is just so unnecessary. It's just, I mean, we're 6 laps in. I mean, I don't want to obviously get too emotional, but it really is just astonishing to see this racing here. 6 laps into a 70-lap race. You've got the whole race. Let's just keep it calm. Get through the end of the race. That's my thinking. But anyway, we're still going here, and that's the battle for 12th, and that is one angry pack, I will say. Emphasis on angry. But meanwhile, of course, while I've been looking at that, Red Shaw's still got the lead over Fighter. It's a good couple of seconds. Then no, Cooper and Gaia, but it's still kicking off behind.
Sorry, they crashed out in the final corner. No one, one person was in the wall gently, but Lopez there was the winner-ish out of that. Rowland actually got round Kieran Ryan as if Ryan was busy trying to avoid the debris. What that has allowed is Tom Vandervoort past Ollie Pelkonen. So hopefully that will start to kill stuff off. Also, whilst that was going on, Tom Parker got round Davidus Missilis for 9th and 10th.
Indeed. So yeah, as we said, just very, very aggressive start here, and yeah, it's interesting to see. Almost, you could say, touring car racing and open wheelers. It's a bit unsettling, I will say. But here we go, Fran Lopez. This is for 13th on the back of Pelkonen. Has looked down the inside and the right, left, but pulls out of it. And for once, a bit of sensible driving there. He's going to go for the exit and get around the outside. I suspect it's Pelkonen. Oh, what is that? Pelkonen trying to push him off the track nearly. Oh, that's just so uncalled for, I think. But anyway, he's managed to keep it on track as Roland goes down the inside, takes advantage of Lopez's misfortune with Pelkin, and Kieran nearly going through as well there at the back of this pack. This is one angry pack still, despite the fact there's only 4 of them now, not 6, but still going. Let's look at this now. Roland on the back of Pelkin towards the chicane. He has a look to the inside. I reckon he's got it done already before the corner even comes, and yep, go down the inside, although Pelkin, he nearly thinks about doing it as Lopez goes into the pit lane, probably trying to get himself out of this angry pack and try and get some clean air, because I tell you what, it really has been a start, I will say.
Well, he was one of 2 people that started on the prime tyres, the other one being Mark Wicks. Philip Pushka's been into the pits and has switched to the prime tyres. They aren't really the favoured ones, I don't think. So I wonder if he's just going for a short stint to try and get them out of the way, knowing that he can't overtake and make the best of it. And it's just gone, do you know what? For the sake of all of my wings, I'm going for it. As 8th position, Tom Parker going for Bart DeVos. Parker got past Missilis nice and cleanly at the final chicane. That one a little less cleanly, as he gives Bart DeVos a little rejoining on the racing line scare. But up into 8th position, nice clean moves there from Mr. Parker himself. He's had a lot of bad luck throughout his sim racing campaign. Let's see what he can do. He's 22 seconds off of his teammate at the moment, but I think that's more down to field spread and also avoiding, getting involved in that turn 1 crash. As Bart DeVos there immediately under attack there. That Kerno not quite as speedy as the Red Archer down in a straight line, and Missilis through. DeVos later on the brakes tries to stick it up the inside, but Missilis is there, and I think Heasterbeek will be there to punish him on the exit. And it's the problem with this Canadian circuit is that once you're out of place in one corner, they all feed the entries and exits into the next, and so you just constantly start to lose momentum and therefore are wrong placed and wrong footed and lose positions, and that just makes you tumble potentially down the pack as James Johnson retakes Roy Schroeter for 17th and 18th positions off your screens. And who's that changing place? It's Bart DeVos losing out to Ruud Heasterbeek. Heasterbeek got through. Bart DeVos was on the grass down at the first chicane.
And he just went a bit deep down the chicane, that's what lost him the position, but now he is down in 11th, but again, that's still very good for Kernol. That just shows the success of just avoiding carnage and staying out of trouble, and look at him there, he is in 11th, so I'm sure Bart will be happy with that, but Pelkin and the scuffle is still going, by the way. It's now 14th between him and Kieran Ryan. This should be quite something to see here for 14th. Two coming together, and also Rifle as well, by the way, is on the back of that now too, so it's a three-way fight for 14th. Ryan gets the better exit, he gets, contact in the middle, he's gone off.
What the
Look at that,
hell is
Rifle
that?
straight through. Double overtaken, yeah, I'm not sure what that was. It was, I don't know what that was. It almost looked like they turned in on each other nearly. It was very strange, but there it is now. Pelkin getting back. Oh, that's so much contact. It really is baffling that these things are still in one piece at this point, because they just hit each other about, I don't know, over 50 times at this point, I would say, in this race. There's Pelkin and nearly going across on Rifle there, but he manages to avoid contact as they go in. He keeps the position. Rifle now going to be, Pelkin stuffs it up.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's not very often I'll say serves you right, but serves you fucking right, Ollie. Because that was disgusting driving from start to finish, and I know as a commentator I should not be that unprofessional, but that was disgusting. Sort it out, make one move, do not drive across other people in a racing line. That is noobalicious. And there we go, rejoining in front of other cars as well. Disgrace. You need to earn your place in Super League and not have that. So the less we spend time on that car, the better from now on. Further up the field, though, Lewis Redshaw, 3.4 seconds clear of David Fiduk. Augustin Canapino then into third position, ahead of Alex Cooper in 4. Then Florian Geyer down in 5th position. Mindegas Columbus quietly up into 6th then in a Torrent, despite Jordan, his teammate, retiring after such a promising qualifying. Mikhail Tsimala, 7th for Nij, though. God, how they would love those points if he can hold on to them. But Tom Parker is easing in on that advantage. It's already down a second nearly this lap so far. Then Missilis is into 9th position, still keeping the route east to Beak at Bay in 10th. Bart de Vos 11 for Kernel, great stuff for him. Tom Vandervoort in 12th. Now he's clear of that pack, as is Nick Rowland in 13th. And from last on the grid, I think that's a great achievement for him, considering he's been off the track as well. Marcus Riffle, 14th on debut for Adonis. I think he'll take that at the moment. With Kieran Ryan.
Sorry.
There, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say Roy Schroden and James Johnson having a nice little battle there, but Roy's just kind of gapped in now. It's about half a second or so, but they're having a nice little battle. That's for 16th. Woods and Adonis. Good old JJ, who's 17th, as we know, come out the field a little bit here, thanks to the shenaniganry. He has gone up the field a bit from his qualifying position, so good stuff to JJ. Sure, I'll be happy with that, and, JJ fan club, JJ for the win. Yes, so, and Kieran Ryan, of course, 15th. He's now in the points thanks to all of the carnage, which we shall not talk about. But yes, it's all settled down a bit now after that. This is a hectic, to say the least, start. I think that's kind. Let's be honest. That start, it was un-Super League-like. Let's wave out. One thing I actually do want to point out that I just noticed, have been noticing all these races. Good old Alex Cooper. I've always noticed he's always just sort of been in the background, hasn't he? He's always been just sort of, 4th, 5th, thereabouts, just kind of chugging along, doing his thing. And again, there he is in 4th, on his own at the moment, just cruising along. And I like his style. I like it. He just stays clear of trouble, does his thing, gets the results. Job done. Well done. So yeah, doing good at the moment. And he does seem to be catching Canapino maybe slightly, but they just kind of fluctuating a bit as they change pace. But yeah, no, good stuff to Cooper, and Midnight will be very happy with that, I'm sure.
He is the sim racing equivalent of Gerhard Berger, I feel. On the podium, not normally grabbing necessarily the win, but generally has the pace to do so, and is like the step behind, waiting in the shadows.
Yeah.
Is how I describe that. And it's good to see actually Canapino, after all of his issues with connections and stuff, still going quite nicely, as Mikhail Tsumala retakes 7th position from Tom Parker. Tom Parker had stuck it down the inside, down at the end of Sector 1. Didn't quite make it stick. He's now having a look down at the hairpin. Oh, someone's lost a front wing. That's...
it's like Marker.
Oh, it's Pelkinen. He's lost it on his own there, down at the hairpin, I think. He was last. Teammate Jack Major had overtaken him, and is out of the game. So that's him gone. Here comes Parker, though, on Mikhail Tsumala, side by side, and he's through. Can he get it stopped in time? Just about. Beautiful exit. Looks like he's got that one covered from Tsumala. There's always the problem with this chicane is that you're so committed on the entry, you've cacked up the exit. And so you've really got to make sure that you floor it nicely and hold the apex so that the other guy can't then slingshot you out into one. But that was beautifully done there by Parker, and that's the third move in about 6 laps he's managed to do of that. The next good giggle that's going on is 11 and 12 with De Vos and Van der Voort. Kerno versus Midnight Motorsport, not something you'd initially have said a few races ago, but this is working nicely for Bart de Vos.
Yeah, indeed. And just on that Parker move, it was a very good move, very clean move, which is good to see that we're starting to get back to the standard that we expect. So yeah, good stuff. And yeah, De Vos in 11th, as you said, yeah, very good for Kernov. I'm sure he'd be happy with where he is, but Van der Voort a bit faster, of course. He qualified a lot better. It's just the shenaniganry that's happened. He has fallen back, so I do expect Van der Voort to... Oh no, as Yaltainen leaves the game. Oh, again, more dramas for Woods. It really just... Its curse never ends, it seems. Yeah, so...
I tell you what happened for...
I think I was still...
Oh, ooh. Sorry. I was just going to say, Yaltainen pulled to an emergency stop in the middle of the track and then just exited out of the game. So I don't know if something's happened in real life that's caused him to go away somewhere or something. But it was clear that something caused him to stop, and I wonder if it might have been a minimise, actually, of the game, to be fair.
Yeah, and the good stuff from DeWalt Nell to be aware and not go back to him. So good awareness. To speak of that battle, actually, that 18th battle is really cracking off. It's Nell versus Libia versus Schroten for 18th, and they're just behind Fran Lopez, who must have, I assume, just got past. But look at this, Libia and Schroten get past DeWalt Nell. Look at that, the straight line speed difference is incredible there, as DeWalt Nell just got passed by both of them down the straight, just showing that sort of lack of development the Green Stripes has right now. It really is. Still struggling a bit, but still not as bad as it was before, so at least it's got a bit of a fighting chance at this point. But straight on the back of Libia, that's for 18th as they fight away. That battle for 11th still going, actually. De Vos is still holding on Van der Voort, which is kind of surprising. I would have thought Van der Voort would have got past by now, but De Vos is holding on for Kernov, so good stuff for him. And I really do hope for Kernov's sake that he can keep that on track and have a good result, because, again, one of those lower teams that really does need the points to keep the development race going, as Van der Voort has a look down the inside of the hairpin. Looks like he should get it done. Yep, De Vos leaves the room. Very nice. Good to see. And yep, there you go. Van der Voort gets it done, but I'm sure De Vos is probably looking for the slingshot here to get him back at the chicane, would be my guess.
Yeah, he'd gone purposely for a very wide entry. I think he knew Van der Voort was coming through, regardless of whether he wanted it to or not. So you go wide, and then you can get much better straight line speed towards the end if he can. But that Kerno, not quite the most developed one out there. It always reminds me that livery of Licorice All Sorts. The Bassett's, the one with the black orange or the black brown and white version. But yeah, Bart de Vos there down to 12th, Van der Voort up to 11th. Nick Rowland 5 seconds back, so he's got a little bit of breathing space now to settle himself into a rhythm, as we are on lap 16 of 70 at this Canadian Grand Prix, as Kieran Ryan completely bodges turn 1, nearly goes off and misses turn 2. So Lopez to 17, Libia 18, Schroten 19, DeWalt Nell, they're really dropping off there in 20th. I wonder if he's done his tyres in. Philip Pushka, who's been into the pits and is on the prime tyres, in 21st, but setting good times. He's thinking, I want some championship points. Remember, he is the leader of this World Championship at the moment and needs to make sure that he stays nicely, essentially, on it. Jack Mayer in 25th position has already been lapped by everyone. He's not pitted. He's got to make sure that he keeps well out of the way from people, because I think he's got a fundamental setup issue where the car is like having a wobble as he floors the accelerator. He's not quite got his gearing right, I don't think, so it's looking a bit wayward, so you just need to be careful with that one as they go round. Columbus, the next one to lap him and well out of the way, so good back markership there from Mayer as Redshaw 4.5 clear, and it's pulling away.
Oh, yep, okay, who was that? I just saw a big lock-up, but I don't see anyone around, so it must have been someone having a big lock-up, but in other... Oh, it was right, it was Mayer getting out of the way, so good stuff. In other news, Easterbeek got past Tumala, that's for 8, so he's gone up the spots. That's good stuff for Easterbeek. I'm sure he'll be happy with that move. It was a nice clean move down the hairpin. Tumala didn't really fight too much. I think he was hoping for the slingshot back, just like Bart de Vos was, but again, didn't quite have the pace of the Blood Ball, so couldn't quite make it stick. But yes, he's still there in 9th, and now he's got Douglas Smissless coming up behind him as well, as he's trying to come through, of course, after the shenaniganry of the early laps. But yes, interesting stuff. Is all sort of... Oh, sorry, my phone having a bit of a spaz attack, but yeah, it's all kind of calmed down a bit now after that extremely hectic start. But,
best battle going on is 23rd and 24th. The battle for almost wooden spoon. It's Wicks versus Choda.
Oh,
and Choda was going for it down at turn 1. Wicks put in all of the right... the Kerno in all of the right places. He started from the pit lane. Choda had to come in for a front wing at the end of lap 1, so they both had inconvenienced starts. Wicks also on the prime tyres, which is interesting, and that's what he started on, so he's going long with them, and they're about to be lapped by Lewis Redshaw, and as a back marker I know that is always a prime opportunity when the other person is slightly misstepped to pounce and have an attack, and as you move over to let one car through, you can just kind of chuck it up to the inside and hope for the best sometimes.
Oh, Roland just left the game. So what happened there? Hang on, let me have a look. It's just a DNF. So, it's a real shame for Roland. Just got up to, I think it was 13th in Hawkeye from last on the grid. Last minute sign up, and there he was in the points. But unfortunately, it's a DNF for him. So shame for Roland, but fortunately, such as the sim racing shenanigans for Hawkeye. So that'll be a shame for them in the team championship, losing a whole bunch of points there. But shame for him. But that's how it is, unfortunately, in the sim racing world. As I'm sure Nick would know after being at it for a long time now. But yeah, as Redshaw did get past both of them fine, and Wicks actually kept the position. But look at that, you got a really bad exit there at the corner. This should give Choda a chance down to turn one, I would say. He's on the faster tyre, so you should think he'd be able to get past. But that's Kernov car coming along quite nicely as the season progresses, which is good to see. But Choda not able to make the move, and Wicks holds on. So good stuff for Wicks, although Choda's still looking close here as they go on the chicane. He has a look, but not quite close enough, and goes out of it. So Wicks holds on for the moment. That is a very close battle. The 22nd down there, as you say, effectively the wooden spoon position, and they are still fighting as hard as they can. It's always good to see the back end of the field fighting as hard as if they're going for the win. I do always like that.
Yep, definitely. And as we saw in Monaco, as you had the DNFs come whittling through, as I think Choda may have. No, he's back to it again. It's what is 22nd now, maybe 15th by the time we get to lap 70, as Choda goes for one move, then another. Wicks puts his car right in the centre, Choda having to pick his moment particularly well. Wicks, a very experienced driver, knows exactly where to put his cars, and having raced against both Wicks and Choda, I can confirm that they are both clean and efficient drivers there, as Choda actually having a really poor exit. It's like he missed a gear going up through the corners, and I wonder if he was looking at blue flags and thinking about moving over. I'd be thinking potentially about some pit stops if I were stopping any time now, and I wonder if anyone is. No one seems to be pulling in at the moment, but the next big battle that's going on is Columbus and Parker for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, indeed. Look at that. Park all over the back of Columbus. He's got a good exit onto the straight. He looks like he may have it done before the straight ends at this point. Although Torrent, not quite quick enough. There you go. So Parker gets the move done again. A nice clean move there through into the chicane. And up to 6. So Parker charging through the field. It's looking good for CSG, I must say, with the Redshaw once again out in front, dominating as he has done a few times this season. And Parker coming back from the shenaniganry of the early laps. And 6th, this is good stuff for CSG. I'm sure they would love some solid points in the championship. But yeah, some interesting stuff as
big collision down a turn. Yeah, and Vanderbilt's going to have the pair, I think. If I wonder what Tumala's going to do. Is he going to resume the position? Yes, he is. He looked a bit confused at it at the moment. But yes, as they kind of meander their way through, that was 2 into 1 down at turn 1. It's such a usual collision that happens at Canada because of the way how you've got to line up 1 for 2, because if you go in deep then you've missed 2 entirely. You see it in most sports that go to Montreal, to be fair. Missilis there now down into 11th, Vanderbilt back in the top 10. Is that rain?
Yeah, just rain, yep. Well, we probably should didn't mention that earlier in the race, but yeah, there was a chance of rain forecast, and look at that, we have rain for the first time in the Super League season. This is going to throw a real spanner in the works. Who's going to flinch first, or are they going to hope that it's just a passing shower? It's going to be interesting to see. I know it was only a light chance of rain, but who knows, maybe this could go on. So this really livens things up in what has already been quite a lively race, to say the least.
Someone pass me the goddamn popcorn. I am in for a treat, baby. As we go down to turn 1 again on lap 21 of 71, and look at Missilis there trying the alternative line. That's my defending line. I do that. You just kind of do a sweepy in. Oh, Vanderbilt there. I wonder if that was bizarre. He had no traction out of turn 2 at all. Missilis there practically pushing the guy along. He's got back up to speed now, but it was like nothing went up in gear for him. That's not the first time we've seen that in a car, not necessarily him. This evening, but that has actually given Tumala a couple of seconds breathing space, and you can see just how much the cars are twitching. The big thing with this is it's 7% rain at the moment. Thank you, Mike Phillis, for being weatherman extraordinaire for us in this broadcast booth. Everyone continuing on, but the problem with this is that most people are running about 3 to 5 wing, and that's like mega anorexic skinny front and rear ends. You just need a tiny sprinkle when you're off.
Yeah, indeed. No, I'll just quickly mention that Vanderbilt going back to that turn
Oh!
one thing. Oh, what's just
Well,
happened?
now in the barriers, 20th position. That's no front wing on that car.
Oh,
And that is actually nearly what happened to me on lap 1 in Formula Challenged, except I managed to collect someone on my way through. And Duwelt now unfortunately retires on his green stripes. There was stuff in that car, and I always think as soon as rain comes out, you want to keep going because most people will bin it and give it a goodbye, I think. Because Tom Vandervoort into the pits. I wonder if that's for a pit stop.
ooh.
It is. He stayed on dries. He's gone for the options again.
Ah, interesting. Yep. As by the way, Pushka just getting past Schroden. That's for 18th. So Pushka coming through the field, of course, after stopping early, and he just gets past old Schrote in the woods. And yeah, he's just making slow progress as everyone goes along. There's also Lopez on the back of Kieran Ryan. This should be quite interesting to watch, as we know how vigorously he defends. But yeah, this is for 14th, so he's in the points. And of course, Kieran Ryan is going on the points at the moment. So Phoenix got some potential points on the cards at the moment. As, yep, France Tool on the back of him. That's for 14th as he looks to get a good exit. He's quite close to it all back, but he's quite close there as Kieran Ryan goes to the inside to defend. They leave the room. Oh, not really, kind of comes across on him, but to be fair, Lopez wasn't really up alongside him, so it should be alright. As they would get Lopez going for the good exit again. He's on the outside. Will Kieran leave the room? Yep, leaves the space. That's always good to see. Lopez going to go around the outside. Oh, a little bit of touch as they go into the hairpin, but they manage to get through okay as he does the up and under, and there you go. Lopez through into 14th. A bit of a switcheroo, as we like to call it here, by Lopez there. That's a nice move. Kieran cannot whoop. Not really, as it seems he doesn't really have the straight line speed, does he? That Red Archer, say it's damn fast on a straight line.
It is, and that will also be down to confidence. And Lopez is a guy that likes to run as low wings as possible with the thought of defence and attack. Race strategy, maybe sometimes sacrificing overall lap time. Alex Cooper in that time has also been into the pits, rejoined on the option tyres. It's not wet enough to go for wets. In general, you need to have about anywhere between 60 and 20% of rain, depending on how comfortable you feel before you start looking at the wet weather tyres. As Choda on Yakinen and Lewis Redshaw, who's just been in the pits, is trying to lap the pair of them. Choda backs out of it.
Yeah, indeed, they managed to actually get through that cleanly. I was quite surprised, but yeah, good stuff there. Again, that's the proper way to do back marker result. Look at this, Sandy jumps on the opportunity straight past Miko. Look at that. That was just, oh, he's got a slow exit. I'll take that. Thank you very much. A very opportunistic move from Choda there. Quite aware that was of him seeing that obviously Yakinen had to slow down for Redshaw. So some very smart driving, I think, from Choda there. He just saw him going slow and took advantage of that. So great stuff to see there as he now moves up to 20th for green stripes. The lone surviving one, of course, now, thanks to DeWalt Nell's retirement. So he's the lone one. As just to put in my bit for the JJ fan club, he's 16th, so only one more off points. So go JJ.
Tsumala in the pits for Nijo, dropping out from 10th down to 13th. It looks like he may rejoin. He may actually come out right alongside Tom Vandervoort, and he does get through. So Tsumala rejoins in 13th, then it's Lopez and Ryan, your point scorers, just behind. Kenny Libia 17th, then Pushka, Schroten, Choda, Yakinen, Wicks and Mayer is our last runner in 23rd position, already 2 laps down. And somewhat taking it tentatively in this changeable weather condition. Bart de Vos has got Tom Parker behind him again. Parker has pitted, de Vos has not. And if anything, I think Parker may try and stick one down the inside, but it makes it extra difficult when you're at this kind of half scatty, greasy condition, because offline versus online, the difference of grip can be quite major. Tom Parker going for it this time, and the crucial one with that one is the move is done, so he can be back on the racing line before he has to brake for the corner. That's the beauty of this RFE plugin, is that you have online versus offline grip levels, and somewhere into that final chicane, that's crucial.
Yeah, indeed. No, you saw him cut across as soon as he could, just to get that grip again. Of course, off the line right now would be a bit slippery, to say the least, is JJ Pitts, and I believe he's the only one in there, although someone else I did see was in. That's Marcus Rifle, actually, his teammate, who just exits on time. So some nice synchronised pitting there from Adonis as they managed to not collide with each other in the pit lane. Pushka also on the back of Libia now. That's for 16th as he tries to come through the field in an early stop. And I would assume he should be able to get through pretty fast because he has shown some very good pace here, even though he's on the prime. And yeah, he's come through quite fast through the field, so I'm expecting him to make that move relatively soon. Although Liberia, I'm sure, will try to fight if he can, because that is obviously a position for later. And if we have retirements, that could be for the for points. You never know. But actually, probably the closest, one of the closest battles is Heasterbeek and Columbus. That's for 6th there between those two. Look at that Heasterbeek. Look at that straight line speed of the Bob Ball, so quick. They both dive in the pit lane, side by side in the pit lane. Look at this. This is going to be a battle of the pit crews if I've ever seen one. As Columbus goes in there.
I'm so glad that they pitted in that order, because I was waiting for it that actually Heasterbeek was going to have to pit before Columbus, and you'd have been like, well, where do I go? But look at the difference in the pit stops there.
Wow.
Heasterbeek out and through. Columbus well behind. I wonder if Columbus had his damage turned to repair, because he's clouted the... I've seen it twice, that he's hit that outside wall in the... Oh, he's nearly round, exiting the pits. Columbus, but I've seen him twice hit the outside wall on the final chicane, the wall of champions as it were. And don't break on the grass, Columbus. Off he goes, and that is like candy for Tom Vandervoort. And I know he's a health and fitness freak, but he'll shove that candy right down his throat if he can get that 10th position, and indeed he does. Call himself a binger, but he's into the top 10 like a ninja. I will try not to rhyme like that all the time. As Redshaw retakes the lead then, Fiduk into the pits. He's one of the last ones of the top ones to go. Canapino stuck in traffic, and actually that's going to really play into the hands of David Fiduk and extend out his advantage that he had over Augustin Canapino, who stays in 3rd. Cooper in 4th, and there's already a gap back to Florian Geyer in 5th, with Missilus, Parker, De Vos, Heasterbeek and Vandervoort rounding out your top 10 at the moment. We're on lap 27 of 70 at the moment.
Indeed, at 37% to be precise, as Factor's telling me. Yeah, no, it's all calmed down a bit now. All sort of a bit spaced away as Missilus just comes in now to the pits as well for Red Archer. So yeah, it's all a bit spaced out now after the the very close start. We've all calmed down, although Libia and JJ are going at it for 17th, and Kieran Ryan's just behind that too. So a bit of a battle between Adonis and Nijo here as they come down the straight. Is maybe well developed, but doesn't mean that it is the fastest car in a straight line. Although he pulls out, and he looks like he might have that done for the corner. Yep, he does. There you go. So he gets the move done. Goes straight through the chicane, and that lets JJ straight back through. And in fact, that might make him a bit vulnerable to Kieran Ryan, I must say. As Kieran Ryan comes up behind, although I don't think he's quite close enough. So Libia holds 18th. That's a nice little battle at the 17th position between those three.
It is, and just to note the difference in grip levels, essentially, for what was going on there. Libia seemed to be very tentative around turns 1 and 2.
Sorry, I'm just sorry to cut in, but literally Nicky Yakinen just went flying through the final chicane. He made a mistake down into there. I think he locked up, or I'm just trying to see what happened there. Did he... Oh, that is a weird one. He just... That is weird. He just kind of went off on his own and then jumped over the curves. Then he jumped over Canapino, and then Canapino's had to sort of take evasive action and lost some time to guys behind. So a bit hectic there at the back of the field, but they managed to do without any contact, so good on them for that. But yeah, a bit of a scary moment for Canapino as he had Yakinen flying over the top of him.
The big winner out of that incident actually is Alex Cooper, because the 4-second gap that there was between Canapino and Cooper is now down to 1. So that has really helped out Alex in the Midnight Motorsport. He's in 4th position at the moment, now within striking distance of Augustin Canapino. So that's interesting. Missilus and De Vos side by side as the rain stops for 12th and 13th positions. De Vos there was exiting the pits. Missilus was coming out of turn 2 alongside him, and with the warmer tyres gets the position.
Indeed, and I'm just watching again that battle for 16th between Libia and James Johnson and Kieran Ryan as they're all battling there. Just the edge of the points. They are battling quite hard there as Libia is just having a look down to turn 1. Not quite close enough to make it stick though, as JJ tries to hold on there in 16th position for Adonis. Oh, it's a bit of a tail happy moment there. Chicane nearly had a bit of a scary moment, I'm sure, for JJ, but he manages it as they are fighting away. And then behind them is Roy Schroten. He's a bit of a gap behind, so I don't think he'll be catching them unless they make a big hash brown of the whole thing, which I hope they won't, because has seemed to be a bit clean, which is good to see. After that initial scuffle, was Libia on the back of him again, but not close enough to make the move. But he'll try again down the chicane as the next up in front of them is Pushka, by the way. He's in 15th now, so he's in the points as he does that little charge to the field after that early pit stop. And it does seem to be working for him, I must say, as he has kind of avoided the carnage of that early laps and managed to just kind of focus on his own race, which is as we said, if you're the championship leader at the moment, you're focusing on points. So if you can just avoid the carnage, do your own race, get the points at the end of the day, then you've done the right thing, really.
Is indeed, as Libeer goes side by side with James Johnson, and he is through up into 16th position. Johnson gets a slidey exit, and that will allow Kieran Ryan to have a look down into turn 1, depending on which way he goes. He's going for the inside, but Libeer gets caught out by Johnson. Libeer very early under braking. Johnson goes steaming through and creams the rear end of poor Kenny Libeer. Didn't quite kill him. Johnson there lets the place go back through to Libeer, so James clearly feeling that he was at fault in that incident. And that's good sportsmanship from James Johnson, and Kenny Libeer retakes 17th position. The big winner, Kieran Ryan, clears 2 drivers in one position, in one spell swoop. Stays unlapped for the time being as well, though he's about to move over for Redshaw. But that was all very interesting. At the same time that was going on, Sandeep Choda got caught out by a very slow Mikko Jakkonen, who's now just reached the pits. I don't know if he's going for repairs or retirements after that flying through the air. No, he's back going again. But he was going so slow that it caught Choda almost unawares, and he nearly crashed himself out trying to get round the car and overtake him. So it was all a bit confused. Lopez, one of the last ones into the pits there, just rejoins in 15th.
Yeah, indeed. As I think JJ, I'm not sure if he maybe broke too late or if he just locked up, but yeah, I think he just made a little bit of a mistake down to turn 1. That's why he clouted the back of Libeer. It was good to see him letting him back through. It's good sportsmanship from the old JJ, so that's what we like to see here at GPVWC. Good sportsmanship racing. That's what we like.
Third. Canapino Cooper. Canapino Cooper side by side. Cooper right up onto the slipstream. Clung the rear wing. Canapino went defensive, made that work into the final turn. That doesn't often work, that acute angle into the final chicane. And he's got it down into turn 1, but that Norge zone's looking a little bit more slidey than it does in the hands of Midnight Motorsports' Alex Cooper. As look at him stalking one way and another. They've got Schroten up ahead. Canapino also with his slightly higher ping has always been a bit of a tougher one to overtake than others. Through no fault of his own, he's just got a bit of a lousier connection. It's seen him have problems throughout the year. Remember the disconnection after leading earlier on in the Bahrain Grand Prix at the start of this season. So you always have to make sure with Canapino that you're clearing him properly, because there is always that little tiny bit of unknown as to exactly where that car is, pixel by pixel. And Roy Schroten will need to, either after this corner, start moving out of the way and helping Canapino. But what Cooper may be able to do, in fact, Schroten there comes right in between the two of them. That won't be helpful. I don't think Cooper will be happy with that. But Cooper, is he close enough for the slipstreaming down the straight? It doesn't look like it as they come flying down. I think it's too far back this time. He'll take a peek, but I wouldn't do a Lungelina down into turn 1 there. I'd set it up for turn 1 on the exit here. Look at Canapino, a little bit leery on the exit, full throttle, and he just lost a little bit of traction. But turn 1 is always the angry one. Cooper's going for it, and that was always going to close. Well, we'll see how that one goes, but at least they've cleared Schroten. They've got a little bit clear track to go at each other, hammer and tongs.
Yeah, indeed. That's probably a closest battle there for that third spot. Again, Alex Cooper being opportunistic there, thanks to some kind of little moments for Canapino, and look at him, he's all at the back of him, still trying. It's quite clear at this point that Cooper must have a bit pace. He must be in the groove a bit. I do suspect Canapino's just having a bit of trouble with the rear end of that car. He just seemed to be losing the rear on the exit of corners a little bit regularly here, but Cooper on the back of him, and that's good for him. And if he can get past it, it'll be on the podium again. If he can hold that, it'll be yet another one of those shadow podiums, which we know Cooper so well for. But still got a tough battle ahead to try and get past Canapino, of course, who will, of course, fight that till the end, because he's for the podium. And some valuable points for Norjone, who I'm sure will take every one of them. Redshaw still leading, by the way. He's 9 seconds clear of Fidek, who's about 9 seconds clear of this little battle. It's going to continue to go on, and then about, it's about 10 seconds or so behind is Gaia, as Cooper not quite close. Oops, sorry, a bit of lag, but yeah, very, very close to this battle here between these two for that third spot. Look at this, having to go defensive. Canapino, will he ever look again down the inside? Nope, defends that. Can he hold it around the outside? It's always quite spectacular when he manages it. Oh no, Canapino goes wide. Oh, early contact there. That was very, very close. I'm not sure if Cooper will be too happy with that one. He just kind of came across and nearly gave him a little bit of a knock to the side to say, hey, I'm going to keep this position if you don't mind, even if it is a bit contact-induced. So a bit leery here in this battle for third. I'm sure Cooper's having a bit of a tough time at the moment trying to get past Canapino.
practically pushing round at the end of Sector 1 around that chicane, just saying, come on, a little bit faster. The problem for Alex Cooper is that, of course, he was involved in the initial shenanigans down at turn 1 on lap 1, albeit slightly, but he was involved in them and has had to kind of play ball since, as there he comes popping out to have a look into the hairpin. And it's always a bit of a, shall I do it now and risk it for later, because you know that if you don't quite get the perfect exit out of that, you are a sitting duck down the straight. Thankfully in GPVWC we don't have the aids like DRS, so it doesn't make it stupid, but Alex Cooper doesn't necessarily need it as he goes, oh no, Canapino's hit him round. Oh no, that was the last on the brakes. What was Canapino going to do? Is he going to wait? Is he not going to wait? He's kind of... Is he? Yes, he is. No, he's not. Canapino says, oh, we'll let the stewards decide that one. And onward Christian soldiers he does go. And not on his shoulders is Cooper, who stays in 4th position. That one I think will be looked at in great detail. The camera angle is shortening down the straight on that one, so it's very difficult for us to have an immediate look at. I don't know, Hinsey, if you're able to get a bit more of a detailed view on that, but very difficult to call from my angle.
Yeah, and I'm just looking back on the replay now, and it does look like... I'm thinking what happened is maybe Canapino thought that he could go back across. Thought the gap was there, and then the gap wasn't there, would be my guess. So, judging from the replay, I'd suspect that Canapino thought the gap was there, but then it wasn't there, and that's probably what happened there, and they just kind of went across and then gave him a little nudge, and that's what turned him around. So that's what I would take from that, just going from the replay. But of course, I'm sure it'll be looked at in detail after the race.
He's let him through, so that's an interesting one. Just at the under the bridge for the second chicane.
Maybe, maybe he rethought that one. Thought maybe it was sort of, he was partially to blame, at least to that one. He just thought maybe to avoid a penalty, get.
Yeah. Oh, Schroten there completely buggers up the final corner in the background of that. I don't know quite how he was managing that one. I suppose the other one for Canapino is thinking from a team boss perspective. You either go for third and you're like, yeah, I'll get the penalty, but he's not far enough away to, if they give him like a 20 or 30 second penalty, it will drop him more positions than to sit behind and just claim 4th if that's all that he's going to get at the moment. Because at the moment, a 20-second penalty would drop him down to 8th. So I suppose it's easier to just say, you know what, give up a couple of positions. You can maybe tag along, keep up with Cooper under the slipstream if you've not got the inherent pace of it now, and work it out for later. But inherent pace is something that Tom Parker has got. He's up into 6th. He's passed Ruud Heasterbeek through the pit stop phase, I believe. I didn't see a particular on-track shenanigan on that one, but he's now onto the back of Florian Gaia, who's in the second Nor zone, a 7th overall in the Drivers' Championship. Very much a coming man is Florian, and sitting there in 5th at the minute, but he is looking increasingly under more and more pressure as Parker continues to try and get his season on track in a CSG racing car.
Yeah, indeed. Now look at him. He's only about, I think it's about a second behind, and he's been closing slowly in this stint. He's been sort of stalking nearly. Gaia is Heasterbeek's not far behind that either, as is Van der Voort. All kind of about 4 or 5 seconds there. Oh, hello, 2 mile down 10th, going a bit deep down the hairpin. This is surely going to give Missless a bit of a chance to have a sniff for that 10th spot there, as he just went a bit deep. As by the way, Van der Voort still, by the way, is in 12th for Kernov, so it's good to see that he's still managing to points. And also Marcus Riffel is in 13th after staying at the back for Adonis, so he's getting possible. Ellis, good points. I was about to say, I just saw a couple of drops on the screen, so it looks like the rain is back. So more shenaniganry could be just around the corner. As Pushka, by the way, up there on the championship leader, he's 14th now. And Fran Lopez is your last points getter at the moment in 15th, with Kieran Ryan 16th, 5S 17th, and JJ in 18th as Roy Schroten.
Brake failure.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he was looking completely unbeknownst. And you could see it actually. He came in for a pit stop, changed his tyres, and then when he went to go out from the pits, it was like, no, this still feels wrong. And so he's retired, unfortunately, for the woods. And brakes is something that you may see in Canada, but I wouldn't have expected it on lap 35 of 70. So he becomes the 7th retirement to join Nell, Roland, Tyan, Pelkonen and Weeks. And we also lost Jack Mayer, who'd crashed out just 3 laps ago off our screens. But he was struggling around at the back in a car that looked less than optimal in the setup department. So but at least he's made his debut, and we'll see how that goes. As Parker goes for Gaia, 5 and 6 position, not able to do it. It looks like the rain is not really falling around this specific part of the circuit. It seems to start down at that final chicane, is roughly where the rain seems to come in from. And we shall see how this goes as they go left, jink right. I always find that corner, suspiciously, you have to turn in more than what you initially think you should. And this is where, and Parker's doing the same thing as what we've seen before. You stick your nose up the inside, and it's almost like you're trying to do a nudge to unsettle the car, or like try and ring the car round. I'm not sure how I personally feel about that as a commentator. And round the outside, there goes Parker. I know how I feel about that move, and it's practically giving me palpitations of excitement. Great move there by Parker.
Oh yeah, that's how it's done. He makes a little mistake in a hairpin. This might give Guy a chance, but yeah, no, that's how it's done right there. That was a fantastic move around the outside, all very clean. It was good to see. Guy gave him the room. He saw he was there, gave him the space, and could see the position, which he knew. He'd been beaten there in that corner, so it was good to see some nice clean racing. That's what we always like to see. There's some always spares given. You always live with spares. It's good old favourite man Fernando Alonso did once say, but yes, Guy didn't manage to get back. That CSG
in an Italian accent.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently he's part Italian as well, apparently in my world. But
his Ferrari days clearly catching up with him.
I am from the land down under, though, so we do things a bit differently here, as I'm sure my fellow countrymen can probably attest to. But yeah, Gaia not able to get back, by the way, on Parker. So Parker is pulling away, so I must say, that CSG, I reckon it's set up well for straight line speed, because they seem to be able to fly down that back straight here at the Cane Circuit.
I tell you what's really interesting. Fran Lopez has just overtaken Philip Pushka for 14th and 15th places. Pushka's meant to be going up the field, not down it. I know he's on the prime tyres at the moment, and he's trying to get that stint out of the way. He's the last unlapped driver, which I don't think you would have expected from the championship leader. I know he's had a torrid time of it, but he's just not been able to kind of crack on up the field. He's losing time because he's on these slower tyres, but Lopez getting through. And I think what he needs to try and do is try and hang on to Lopez's coattails. And maybe as he comes up onto the back, he's got Riffle, DeVos and Missilis not too far up the road. May be able to hang on to the coattails and try and be dragged along in his wake, perhaps. Because he needs it if he wants to make sure that he leaves this race in the championship lead, which currently, as the situation is as it is now, he will definitely not be doing.
Yeah, indeed. No, he's looking like losing a whole bucket load of points to Redshaw and Carr up the front. Redshaw and Fidek specifically, who are once again doing the usual sort of information really at the front, as Redshaw is 11 seconds now clear of Fidek. You mentioned them much because they've just been clear of all the shenaniganry that's gone on for the field and race. But yeah, Redshaw having another one of those sort of dominant performances in the CSG once again, which is good to see. Have another very good race. Whoop. Like that. Hopefully for CSG's sake he can keep that thing going along as it is. So far it's been really a run, I must say, to be honest. He's kept clear, got that really good start, got out of the way of everyone, that's just kind of gone off in the distance and said goodbye as he dances into the sunset as everyone else makes the errors behind. But yeah, Fidek in second, it's 11.8 now, and it's Cooper in third as he's actually gapped Canapino in fourth now. So Cooper seeming to use that pass and stay away and not get back into the clutches of Canapino, which is good to see for him. And it's Parker, of course, Gaia, Heasterbeek, Van der Voort, who's been a bit on his own now in the midnight there in 8th place, at a bit of a lonely sort of middle area of the race, but he's still there in 8th. Oh, as what are we saying?
It's Chimala and Missilis. They were side by side going for the hairpin for not the first time in the last lap or so. Side by side again down the back straight, 10 and 11 position. Nijo versus Red Archer, and Red Archer, we've seen the straight line speed capability of that car, and he's through, but that was a few laps coming because they were nose to tail for a lot of that, but the reason why it oohed was because there was contact and both of them ran off into the runoff area down at that hairpin, which has only given Bart de Vos a little bit more time to catch up onto the back, and Missilis there. Ooh. That looked clean to me. I wonder if he's sitting there thinking, I got that move because I upset him coming into the hairpin. And he's just thinking, a bit like, do you remember F1-wise when there was I think it was at Spa, and it was Raikkonen or someone that got the overtake, but they deemed it, it was Hamilton, wasn't it? Because he'd done it at one corner and then overtook at the next, and they said the reason why you got it was the one before. where there was issues because you cut or something like that. I think he was wondering on that case. Devidus Missilis, an avid point scorer, if ever there was one for Red Archer, exactly what that team needs at the moment is someone consistently batting around the top 10, and it looks like he wants to do it again. But Nijo, they're slowly on their ascension up the order. For the fastest car out there, it's not quite the fastest man combo or man-car combo that there is, as Missilis going round the outside again, determined to get it done this time, and that is a textbook manoeuvre, and those two giving each other a lot of respect out on track for what is 10th and 11th. Lap 41, the sun now starting to beam. That's a little bit less respect down there, but it was still clean. And Missilis retaking into the top 10. Imala down to 11 for Nijo, but they're just happy to be getting some points on the board, and they'll be wanting to solidify, hopefully, a top 10 constructor for them, because currently they're in 11th, but with Woods not really in the points at the moment, this is all free game.
Yeah, indeed, no, very true. That was interesting to see. I do think that, Missilis is probably going off that same logic as the Spa Hamilton thing. I do think that would probably be why. But yeah, good to see sportsmanship anyway, even if, a lot of people probably wouldn't have done that. But yeah, good to see Missilis doing a nice sportsmanship again. We're seeing a bit of that now in this sort of half mid-area of the race. After that early shenaniganry, it's all calmed down and everyone's being all gentlemanly, which is good to see. We always like to see that. And yeah, Missilis though gets position in the end. He's now in 10th, and it's 2 mile. And of course, DeVos, as we said, getting a little sniff, and he is on the back. I just wonder if he can call that in. As we said, that Kernov has been on the improve over time. In fact, that's an interesting little train that's coming together. It's 2 mile, and of course, DeVos. Then you've got Riffle, who's been behind that. Then you've got Lopez closing in behind that. And then it's Pushka, who's just dropping off the back of that. And he's still in the points in 15th, by the way, but of course, look for him at the latter end of the race, as he'll be on the faster tyre when everyone else has to do the prime, as he's actually about to get to play Redshaw. So
I was just sitting there in the background looking at the same thing, and I was thinking, I wonder what kind of measurement we would need to put on Lewis Redshaw's chops to measure that grin when he saw that, because I'd probably go for furlongs myself. It's the main rival that they're trying to beat, and Pushka, they're nearly going round. He's clearly pushing hard to try and make sure that he stays on the lead lap. But it must be very, very difficult with a assumedly wounded car and tyres that are not the fastest round here. And the difference is that Lewis Redshaw's on 25 points, Pushka's on 1, and Pushka at the moment wouldn't be second in the Drivers' Championship at the end of this race. He'd be third, because both Fiduk and Redshaw would overtake him in the scoring rankings. As who's that changing position?
That's Vanderbilt pitting. Yep, he just pitted there, and he's come out in the prime. So doing his prime stint now. And it'll be interesting to see how his pace goes, because as we said, Pushka clearly not quite at the same pace thanks to that prime tyre. In fact, will Vanderbilt come out ahead of Missilis? Yeah, he comes out ahead of Missilis, so good positioning there for Midnight. They have a nice little gap for Vanderbilt to push on in, so it's good for him. As DeVos on the back of 2 mile. It's for 11th. It's probably your closest battle at the moment, as Lopez is also...
There's a 16 and 17 side by side. Kieran Ryan and Kenny Lybeer, and Lybeer in the Nijo there is going to go through. Ryan, they're trying to almost bully tactic Lybeer off the road. That wasn't going to work. Kenny stayed in a straight line. I've seen many an accident down at that final chicane, normally under braking. And look at Lybeer and how aggressively defensive he had to go, and Ryan goes steaming through. I don't know if there was really a car length there, mate, but he gave it a go anyway. Lybeer does exactly the same back. And I think it's when it gets to that escalation point of, I know what you're going for. Oh, no. Lybeer in the wall, and you could see that coming 2 corners earlier. And once again, hot-headed temperatures boil over to the point where you don't have, there's not a pot to piss in. By the time you finish with that, I think people need to take a little bit of a chill pill and understand exactly what tactics there are. And see, the thing is that this is an epidemic that is slowly going across sim racing, across all different levels at the moment. I'm getting on my high horse now, sorry. But the problem is that you'll have people that bully boy tactic through, and if they push you out the way, you lose, because you aren't going to defend that place. So then you're like, well, fine, if that's the way you're going to play, I'll push back. But the problem is that that person is so hot-headed sometimes that it will then go, and I am going to push back harder. And then it escalates to the point where someone's in the wall, and that's just what's happened there with Liberia. And the issue that we've got, and it's a pan sim racing thing. It's not limited to this league. It's just a general thing. It's the policing over just general sportsmanlike behaviour before it escalates to that point, and understanding exactly at what point we consider good or bad sportsmanship. As here comes DeVos, Riffle and Lopez, and I think we'll see the same thing again.
Yeah, no, I just was looking at it and they were getting all mightily aggressive there down the back straight as Riffle and Lopez were getting a bit coming together. Oh no, Lopez turns in and round goes Riffle.
Stop
I don't know what's going on, but
ruffling your feathers and mucking it about. I mean, that one was more clumsy than I think actually intentional. Lopez there turning in quite harshly. And that chicane, I've had a few coming togethers in there in the time, so it's difficult. I love the Montreal circuit, and it normally provides some really great racing, but it is a test of temperament. I had a clumsy opening lap in my Formula Challenge race. Race 2, didn't really touch anyone apart from myself into the wall. That was joyous. But it was it's one of those where you need to treat it with a level of respect so that you all bring yourselves home. As DeVos and Lopez go at it again, DeVos stays in the middle of the track. There is a kink in the road, so it makes it difficult, but you know the kink is in the road and you choose your path and you stick with it, and that's what Lopez has done this time. And so this looks like it's going to be a much better effect. He's through before the straight really gets going, which I think is actually going to hurt Lopez more than actually help. DeVos there takes a little less of a suck on the rear wing than what he really should have done, and that actually buggered up the entry and exit, and that's ruined that. Lopez onto the back of Tumala then. Mikael Tumala in the Nijo, he wants those points for 11th, and Lopez there, different braking zones into turn 1 and 2, makes it slightly awkward, and Lopez lights up the tyres. It's a good job that he must have some good rubber as Redshaw into the pits, and he puts on the primes. So he's going for that stint. That's interesting, just off your screens. Biduk now takes the lead, pit stop affected. But it's got to be so careful with where you pick your moves and all of that stuff. And yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean. Yeah, it's been interesting to see the placements of the cars here because they've been a bit all over the place. I'll be honest. Yeah, so a different level of racing here. Although to be honest, I think Montreal kind of brings that out because obviously Monaco, it's known for its chaotic nature. Oh, what's happened?
Easter Beacon Gaia side by side for 4 and 5, and there's Cooper exiting the pits, and I don't think that car was quite over the right line properly. As Easter Peak goes for it. Sorry to call that one out, Alex, but you're not the first that I've seen do that. But it just that camera angle really made it look like your car was over the white line. But Gaia keeps the 4th position for now. He's to Beacon 5. Cooper desperately wants these two guys out of the way if he's to have any go at Canapino on the undercut, doesn't he?
Indeed, so I'm just looking at Lopez just making the move on to Marla. That was down to chicane, and moves up into 11th now for Red Archer after obviously starting from the back with that penalty from Monaco. As also Missilis, by the way, is on the back of Vandervoort, and he's been closing in on him in these last few laps, and now he's on the back, and of course, keeping in mind Vandervoort is on the prime tyre, and Missilis is on the option, so that's probably why he's been closing, because he's a bit pacier, of course, being on the faster tyre. So he's to be again on the back of guys as down towards the final chicane. Surely he's to be is going to be really looking to get past here. He might even get done before the chicane arrives. Really not quite as fast that Norjone is, but there you go. He's to be through. Through, and that's nice and clean there. Not too much contact, and yeah, just a real nice move again from Easterbeek. Hey, hooray every time that happens. And yeah, so he's through now into 4th, but I'm sure Guy will try and get back. And as we said, this is just wounding Cooper's chances of possibly fighting for 2nd and also keeping ahead of Canapino. I'm sure he's looking there right now at this going, could you guys please sort yourselves out so I can move on and do my own race, because this is hurting mine quite a bit.
Yeah, it's hurting his. As Missilis got past Vandervoort into the final chicane, Vandervoort's going to have a stab down at turn 1, but actually Missilis was cutting across to take his normal racing line by the looks of it. Vandervoort just backed himself out. Sandeep Choudhary I saw pulling into the pits. He has just retired in the green stripe, so that's an unfortunate end to Sandeep's race, which held such promise of points for him and the green stripes team. but unfortunately front wing removal on lap 1 was not part of the plan, and now he's just parked into pits and given up the ghost for the day. But yeah, Miscelis there through into 9th position, Vanderbilt down to 10th, that sorts that out. Cooper in 6th place, not really able to now close in on the Heasterbeek and Gaia battle because they're no longer battling each other. So it may not really affect him on the old pit stop front. But Fidek and Canapino are continuing on, and they're clearly trying to make the prime tyre the smallest amount or the shortest stint possible so far.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, they're definitely trying to work out that strategy and make it work, because of course, always a major part of Super League racing here is that strategy, trying to make sure you get it right. As people, one who has been getting it right, just pretty much in all areas at the moment, is Lewis Redshaw, who is of course in second, but he has pitted, and of course Fidek hasn't. He's only, let me have a look, he's only 2.5 seconds behind, and he's obviously pitted when Fidek hasn't, so that's how much of a lead that Redshaw has there. And yeah, just showing his dominant performance once again here at Montreal. He's done it already this season, and he's doing it again here in the CSG, so really reaffirming his place here in Super League after that impressive season last year for the CSG, and he's doing it again here. And of course, Canapino in 3rd at the moment, that is after Cooper is pitted, so you have to factor him in there. And then it's Heasterbeek and of course Gaia, and actually I reckon Cooper's slightly catching Gaia, but it's emphasis on slightly. It is quite line ball there, as obviously being on the slower tyre isn't quite as fast. And of course Parker 7th, Columbus 8th, Miscelis 9th, Vanderbilt 10th, Lopez 11th, DeVos 12th, Riffle 13th, who going along well considering obviously being an emergency drive, doing well for Donis there, could be some good points for them. Tumala 14th and Pushka 15th, and that is your points getters at the moment.
Well, interestingly there, Alex Cooper last time round a 1:16.479. I'm just looking at his prime tyres versus Canapino's knackered options, and he's doing 16.3s. So Canapino is still pulling away despite having knackered option tyres against fresh new prime ones. And that is fascinating, because all that does is confirm for Fidek and to Canapino stay out and keep it longer. Now we know Redshaw is relatively safe, because although this is probably one of the one of the quickest in and outs pit stop wise, because you effectively cut turn 1, don't you, by just rejoining into 2. It does mean that you're going to have a good 10-second advantage, if not a smidgy bit more into 11. At the moment, Canapino's got 12 seconds over Cooper at the moment, and it's growing. Ever so slightly, but it's growing.
Indeed, as Pushka by the way on the back of Tumala now, so he has quite to the back of the Mudo driver, and he is trying to find a way past. You assume he should do it relatively soonish, as I believe. Let me just have a look. Yeah, so Tumala of course on the prime and Pushka on the option, so you would assume that he should be able to get that done pretty soon. As Rifle also pitted by the way, and he's put on the, I believe, the prime tyre. Yeah, the prime tyre. So yeah, some strategies playing out there. As yeah, they're battling away in 13th, and I'm sure that Pushka should be able to get that done pretty soon, as he's trying to come through the field, and sort of basically it's damage control now, isn't it, really, if the championship leader, as he'll probably lose that at the rate he's going on. The Tumala makes a mistake, that gives Pushka a sniff, but not able to make it work there on the exit. I'm sure he'll have a go, of course, down to the chicane. We know how quick that ball is, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to make the move. And Nijo's no slouch either, as that onto the grass there. Wow, yeah, that was interesting there, as he makes the move stick though. Tumala not finding it too hard, but did put up a good defence, as he made Pushka go to the grass, as Pushka obviously deciding he wasn't going to go to the outside, so classic move. He really wanted to go that inside, didn't he, as he in the chicane.
Great stuff there. So Pushka up to 13th. My worry for Pushka is that he pitted for those option tyres 5 laps ago, which means that he'll be doing a good 25-26 laps on these option tyres. No one else has done that many, so he's got to make sure that he makes those tyres last and is still there at the end of it as Live Beers into the pits. We've also had Columbus and Lopez in the previous lap. Heasterbeek's in this time around. So still Fidek and Canapino trying to stretch those tyres out as long as they are, and if they manage to do this, those option tyres, if they continue on for another 2 laps, will have done 25 laps apiece. So that's interesting to note, and what that will do is basically confirm for Pushka, yeah, I'm fine, I can keep going on this set and not have to do a quick mini change at the very last minute, because that will bugger him up in terms of his run up the field. Now into 13th. and he's actually got a little bit to catch on Lopez, who's just been lapped for the first time. The 11, leading 11 on the lead lap. Just Mark Wicks 2 laps down, and Mika Jäkkinen in that Wounded Phoenix 3 laps down. So pretty much everyone, even Stevens, and battling away quite happily as Gaia and Cooper have kind of slowly shuffled themselves up. You noted earlier on some that he was catching, he's finally got himself into the slipstream.
Yeah, indeed, but I'm noticing he doesn't seem to quite be able to make moves stick. Obviously, as we said, those options as well. There you go, Guy moving in anyway, so that releases Cooper regardless. So that probably a relief for Cooper. I'm sure he's happy to finally get some clean tracks so he can knuckle down and get those laps done. But there you go, Guy in. As yeah, I was just going to say that Cooper he'd gone to the back, but he still didn't really look like he was able to make the move stick. So I think he was kind of hoping that Guy was going to go into the pit lane and give him some free track, as Guy should come out in... will he come out, I believe, 7th, or will he beat Easterbeek? No, he'll be behind Easterbeek in 7th, and that's a bit of a formation. It's Parker a couple of seconds ahead of Easterbeek, who's a couple of seconds ahead of Gaia. And that's a bit of a gap back to Missilis, Vandervoort, and Columbus. And then DeVos sort of on his own at the moment in 11th place. Got a bit of a gap to Lopez, so... yeah, everyone going along, and I don't believe there's any straight-up battles happening. It's all kind of spaced out now after the hectic start that we've had to this race.
Fidock into the pits.
Oh,
So
Missilis is off. Missilis is off. Sorry to cut off, but Missilis is retired. I reckon he's lost a tyre. Oh, that was an interesting spin. It was out of the second corner. He just... I'm not really... It seems like he just floored it too soon, or... hang on, let me just... I'm trying to
so easy
decipher
to
what
do.
happened here. Yeah, it's... actually...
But it looks like he's already done the acceleration phase out of that,
Yeah.
hasn't he? He's too far out. Oh, what a shame there for...
It almost looks like his wheel got stuck, doesn't it? Like, it's almost looks like it got stuck to the right. He couldn't turn it, and then he's gone to turn it, and it's too late. Like, that's almost what it looks like. A very strange accident there. I'm sure we'll find out in the forum what happened afterwards when he posts on it. But yeah, that's a very strange accident.
I wonder if he's pulled the plug out. Because that's sometimes what happens. It just kind of then just goes, near, and then you're like, no. So yeah, it's and the problem is with those accidents, they happen in slow motion, and you can see the wall coming, and then you're just like, accept my fate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's issues with that. The interesting one, Canapino has pitted and rejoined behind Alex Cooper. So Cooper has got himself into that third position after all that. Canapino was behind. He needed 14 seconds for that pit stop, because I was looking at how long it took for Gaia to come back out again after his pit stops, and his took 14. Canapino did the same, and Cooper was 13 clear. So 13 behind, so he just lost out by the 1. And of course, by the time you've got your tyres up to temperature, that's normally about 1.5, if not a smidgy bit more. So now he's got to hope that with his prime tyres having a little bit more life on them towards the end, he'll be able to do something about that. But the Nord zones were less than excitable in qualifying, weren't they? They were down at 10th and 11th positions. It makes you wonder, inherent pace, does the Nord zone have it, or have they focused on a race pace?
Indeed, it's definitely a good question that we're seeing here. I don't know. I do think that, that race pace is not terrible, but I don't know if it's really up to the standard of the CSGs, for example, or the Vodballs even as well. I do think it's a bit behind, it would seem, because as we can see, Cooper, of course, getting past Canapino in that pit stop phase, and obviously Retro running away with it. And Parker, of course, remembering coming back through the field, so keep in mind he did lose time thanks to that turn, lap 1 shenaniganry, and he's been coming through, and he is, what is he, about 9 seconds behind Canapino, so he's not too far back, and actually, of course, Easterbeek not far behind him, and then Guy, who's dropped off a bit off the back of Easterbeek, which just confirms, obviously, that the race pace of that Nord zone maybe not quite as high up as they would like, but still doing well, of course. They're still 7th and 4th, and that's some good points for them in the Constructors, which I'm sure they will happily take, because obviously any good points you can get in the Constructors is always good for development, and more development means a pacier car, which any team would want, obviously. As I'm just going to quickly shout out again, Bart DeVos, who's still in 10th for Kernov, so shout out to him. He's doing very well, been just kind of doing his own race for the last dozen or so laps, and he's going along nicely in 10th, although obviously Lopez behind is closing in slowly, so I'm interested to see if he can get that down by the end of the race.
Yeah, they're on option tyres as well, which is interesting because almost everyone else is ending up on the primes, but they've done the primes earlier on. Lopez was all half looking at, can I unlap myself from Lewis Redshaw? And I think Lewis Redshaw would firmly say the word no. So he needs to make sure that he sorts that one out. Other big shout out that's going on is Mikhail Tsumala, who's been slowly fading during the second half of this race, is nearly being caught entirely by Marcus Riffle in the Adonis Engineering car, who's in 14th. He's already looking at points on his debut for the debutant team for 2015. Menno Klontz, the team boss, I think will be delighted in his orange jumpsuits, jumping up and down, literally. And he was having last minute team owner dramas just as they was going into qualifying, so I think he's having a little bit of a heart murmur by the time this is all finished. But Riffle is closing to Marlow, and quite a pace actually as well. And then the other battle that we've got going on is Kieran Ryan is only a few seconds ahead of Kenny Lybeer, who's only about 2 seconds clear of James Johnson, and that's all for 15, 16 and 17. So at the moment, only one of those will be taking home the bacon for the final points position.
Yeah, indeed, and well, I guess I'll just be honest about how it is with the obviously the JJ fan club. I would say I'll probably be going for JJ in that battle. I'll be honest, but yeah, I don't know if he's a bit behind. To be fair, Ryan is kind of about 8 seconds ahead of JJ or so, and I kind of gapped out a bit as Kieran Ryan's going along there in 15th for Phoenix. And again, that's only 1 point, but it is still a point, which I'm sure Phoenix will more than happily take as they sort of try to develop that car and keep getting good results. As also Yakin in that second Phoenix is still going along, by the way, in 19th and last of the runners at the moment. And in Wicks, of course, as well as 18th for the second Kernov. So still going along well. And if more retirements happen, there could be some chance of points there, just like in Monaco for some of the lower end teams. Feidig there, wow, nearly spinning it there on the exiters. DeVos was coming out of pit lane, and Feidig having to just sort of adjust his line and nearly went round there at the same area that Missilis did. So nearly a bit of a scary moment for Feidig, but he holds on to it. He's still in second, by the way, and going along nicely in that Hawkeye. So some yet more good points for Mr. Consistent, who's living up to his name so far.
Most certainly is. Someone who has essentially had a collection of wonderful finishes, never retired from a Grand Prix. So if he had binned it into the wall, that would be his very first retirement in the Super League. So, and I'm just looking for, he has retired once in Formula Challenge in 2013. So just the once. However, it's in terms of Super League and the top echelon, he's never not scored. His worst result in his entire Super League career was last time out in 7th. How disgraceful. I'd love a 7th. So clearly Mr. Feidig is Mr. Consistency, and he's certainly showing it right now. As the problem for Lewis Redshaw, he's just completely outbraked himself down at turn 1. His issue is Fran Lopez is desperate to unlap himself, and I think Redshaw is just going to say, do you know what, go. He's got 12 seconds. Oh no, Lopez then just tucks back in behind again. It's almost like he's playing cat and mouse. And see, if that was me, I wouldn't want to take the chance, because Fran, as a wonderfully fast driver, has got a little bit of a reputation for not being in the right place at the right time with his nose cone on occasion. And I just wouldn't want to run that chance. And even if it just meant that I lost a second or two, just letting him go and letting him get out of my blue flag range, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and to be fair, he is 12 seconds clear, Redshaw, so it's not like he's got a couple of seconds on Feidig. So honestly, I think he could probably lose those couple of seconds and still be fine. So I guess it's up to Redshaw as he goes wide into turn 1. That could give Lopez a chance to unlap himself, but he's still 6 behind. But yeah, interesting. I would have thought that Redshaw would have let him go, but obviously he's decided he wants to keep ahead of him, which is an interesting call, because it'll mean he'll have Lopez on him for what will probably be the remainder of the race. Obviously being on the option tyre, Lopez has got a lot of pace. So, I mean, if he's okay with having him on the back of him and he thinks he can handle it, I guess, that's all right. If it works, it works. But yeah, I would have thought you'd let him go and just let him prance off into the distance. But obviously Redshaw thinking a different sort of way. He's still actually pulling away from Feidig, even though of the pressure from From Lopez, it's about 12.8 seconds now, as it just keeps slowly growing as time goes on. So clearly Lopez is not really phasing Mr. Retro, as he just coolly goes on with his race as he has been doing and continues to dominate here at Canada.
Just as we hit probably the first vague quiet moment, and even that's vague because Vandervoort and Columbus are about to go into battle anytime soon, and the Ryan, Beer and Johnson battle that's going on is about to kick off too soon. Quick shout out to those on News Twitter space. Thank you for Alexander Vandervoort for basically saying if he mentions that he's doing sim racing to a girl, he'll only do it once he's known them for quite a while. But he wouldn't mention it necessarily on date one unless they said, "What's your favourite hobby?" So thank you very much, Alexander, for that one. Also, Deltec Racing Team, big shout out to Mike Pittman for Vodball Racing on his birthday today. Hope his team can bring him a good result. Well, Ruud Heasterbeek is going to bring him a 6th position at the moment with how it's going. He's 2 seconds behind Tom Parker, so he's shadowing him, not necessarily being able to capitalise and go for a result. However, I think you'd have been hoping for potential wins there from Filip Puška, although he's now up to 11th the way how this is all played out, which I think will be good for him.
Yeah, indeed. No, that's a good point. As who was I seeing? I was looking at someone. It was, I think, Rifle and Tumala. Yeah, they're a bit close there. It's about off the 13th, but they're still a bit spaced apart. They are both on the prime tyre, so you'd assume pace-wise they should be pretty similar. But yeah, they've just sort of been closing together a little bit over the past laps. But Tumala holds for the moment. He lost 12th. Of course, he just pitted for the prime not long ago, but some possible good solid points for Colonel. I'm sure they'll be very happy with that. Puška in 11th, by the way, of course, our championship leader, although that probably might not be the same after this race with how Retro and Fighter are going, but he is in 11th, so he has been up some good spots, so I'm sure Puška will be pretty happy with that recovery, considering how this race has unfolded for him, as he was in that angry pack in the midfield in the early stages where all the action was kicking off, so I'm sure he's quite content with how it's gone, considering this race, as...
His Bart de Vos has gone off the track.
Oh, no.
Bart de Vos 12th position. He's off again, and through goes Tumala up to 13th. De Vos, I think, is in trouble. I think he's got brake failure. He's just gone straight into the wall. Off goes the front right. That's a brake failure if ever I've seen one in the Kerno sports car, and that's a real shame for Kerno and for Bart de Vos. He put in a stonking drive. His official retirement is accident, but to me that looked like brakes had gone.
Yeah, no, that definitely looked like a brake failure to me. I was just having a look through the replay, and yeah, it's just turn one goes too deep, and it just kind of keeps going for the following corner. So yeah, I'd say it's definitely a brake failure. And for Colonel, they were really on for some good points, which they really do need for that constructors and for just developing the car. So a real shame for Truby. A little bit unhappy with that one, as he was going along quite well there in 12th. But yeah, unfortunately, such is the way of sim racing. As we said here at Canada, it can be that brake failures do come quite prominent because of just obviously how many big stopping zones there are around the track. Obviously, in particular, that last chicane being the main one. But yeah, real shame for him. But such is racing once again. It can happen. As that now puts Kenny Libby in the points. So if things stay as they are, it's a Nijo double points. And I'm sure our man Chris Williamson will be quite happy with that.
Yes, race director Chris Williamson getting himself potential double points. It's still not quite the lofty heights of when they were battling it out for wins and 1-2s 2 years ago, but times have changed, and they've certainly changed in 2015 for GPVWC Super League. If you do want to get involved in the action, pop across to gpvwc.com, get yourself signed up, and try and see if you can teach some of these people a lesson about how to race cleanly. But we'll see how we go. That battle between Tumala and Riffle is now on. Tumala is slower, but Riffle is less consistent, which is why it's taken a wee bit of a while to essentially get him onto the back. But Riffle's been able to dip into the 16s, whereas Tumala is constantly in the 17.3s. But Riffle kind of has like a second between his consistent lap times, whereas Tumala's got 3/10, and that's why it's taken him quite a while to get onto the back. However, Riffle's there now, and I quite fancy Marcus wanting a 12th position on debut.
And that would be definitely a good debut for Adonis, especially being sort of what looked like anyway, a bit of a late comer and a bit of a late replacement. But yeah, no, 13th doing well for Adonis. I'm sure that, as we said, Mano will be very happy, jumping up and down in excitement. I'm sure. As yeah, look at this, he's on the back of him now. He definitely looks like he's got the pace, but as you said, not quite as consistent as. Oh no, Timala
no,
goes
no,
inside the
no.
contact. Yeah, they've gone in a bit of contact. Looks to me like Riffle kind of went to the inside, and so did Tumala. They kind of did the same move at the same time, and that's why they both had contact. They do keep position though, so I think that should be okay because they do keep themselves going in line. So at least, oh, there goes Tumala, he goes wide, and that surely is going to give Riffle a chance. He's going to get a really compromised exit, although obviously keep an eye out for down the chicane. I wonder if Riffle will maybe hold on to the chicane. He has a look. Oh, not quite close enough, and they'll keep line astern. He'll also compromise his exit now down the chicane. Yeah, look at that, gets a massive wheel spin on the exit of that hairpin. Obviously, just trying to get the grip right in that grip right in that car. And Tumala holds on 12th, and Riffle's still 13th. So that battle continues into the last, I believe now it's about 7 laps to go.
It is indeed. Final 10% of the race, and Riffle there nearly in the wall of champions out the outside. I don't know if he's ever been a champion on anything. That might be what saved him if he hasn't. But yes, that collision between the two reminds me of, you know, when you go to, you've got someone coming the other way on the pavement and you both keep dancing in the same direction to get out of each other's way. You're like, to me, to you, and then you both go to the right, and then you're like, to my right, to your right, to me, to you, to me, to you, brothers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all of those issues is what that ends up being. As that was someone locking up quite dramatically. It was Columbus lapping Ryan, actually, to be fair, but it looked like it was all for the overtake of the move. But no, everyone else is still kind of playing themselves in. Cooper's got 3 seconds now over Canapino. Parker is now just 1.1 second clear of Heasterbeek, so that's looking like being the last big battle of the lot. And Heasterbeek is running out onto the grass on some of the exits of the turn, so he's clearly feeling that he's got the grip and the speed and the determination to get that 5th position. He clearly wants it. And Heasterbeek versus Parker, this is something that's boiled over from Super Cup, where both of those drivers were busy battling on Wednesday evenings initially at the start of this year for wins and poles and everything like that, and then they've all suddenly found themselves back in the main one again on a Thursday due to driver changes around, and they've kind of picked up where they've left off on slightly faster cars.
Yeah, indeed. No, yeah, they pretty much have that battle still going on over from Super Cup, of course. There's also Guy, by the way, just behind that is just line astern, and then it's kind of a Van der Voort and Columbus still together, but Columbus still hasn't caught Van der Voort properly, so I'm not sure if he'll manage to do that. He might run out of time at this rate as we are getting into the last sort of 5 laps or so. That battle for Riffle and Tumala, by the way, still going on. Tumala holds on for the time being, and I will not lie when I say I wouldn't mind someone in the top 15 retiring, because then that would mean JJ get a point. So I won't lie that I would be kind of happy with that. Just putting my fan club part of me out there.
Fanboy. Everyone loves a bit judging, but yes. So Riffle back on the back of Tumala. Take 2, the revenge. I think he's actually had, but again, he's had a bit of a lazier exit out from the hairpin. He likes a tighter line into it. And you can see it physically round the corner is faster, but then the exit down the straight less so. And so it's let him pull up onto the rear. I don't think he's close enough to ever go down at turn 1. Tumala's broken a straight line for that one as well, so that's nice to see. Didn't go for the covering. Again, there just a little bit excitable on the loud pedal, and you can see the rear end of that Adonis Engineering car squiggle around ever so slightly and then get back under its grip control and flying off forward.
Indeed, no, it's still going on the battle, and yeah, as you said, just shows the consistency Marla has. He's just able to, get those exits right and in the right places. Getting the big important one at the hairpin right, which is setting up nicely for the next 2 corners, which he needs. Of course, they are the sort of main overtaking opportunities of the race, and they are of the track. Sorry, and they are helping him out. Here we go again. Riffle down the inside. He might actually have it complete this time. Yeah, look at that. Down the inside he goes, but of course it's going to have a compromised exit. And yeah, look at that. He gets that wheel spin again, which might end up costing him here as Tumala has the better exit. He's going to be right behind him. Goes to the outside as Riffle covers that inside line. I reckon he'll have that done before the corner even arrives at this rate. And yeah, look at that. Nearly.
Oh, no,
nearly.
no! Not the bar barging! Stop the argy-bargy, peeps. Disgraceful stuff, but it's the test of, are you there? Are you there? Yes, you're there. Quick, out the way. Malan. And now Riffle goes in deep. Tumala goes around the outside, 2 abreast, and Tumala trying to do the old switcheroo up on the inside. Riffle does that old little warthog. The problem with this one is that, again, you can try and ride the inside curve, but it spits you out a bit on the exit and unsettles the car. And that's the issue with that one. Same here too, you have exactly the same issue, that you can try and ride the curb on the inside, but actually it spits you out and kind of chops you off on the exit. But Riffle's got that 12th for the time being from Tumala, not quite ecstatic over how it was done, but he's got it nonetheless. And that leaves...
Oh, sorry, I've just noticed. Sorry, I was just looking around and it looks like Mark Wicks has had an accident. He's lost a wheel and he's still limping round though. It looks like he wants to get back to pit lane and see if he can do the lottery on the pit lane and see if the pit crew will repair it, because there's always the lottery when you're doing racing here. It can be that they sometimes repair it, sometimes they don't. It kind of depends what mood they're in. So hopefully he's fed them nicely, because they might actually repair it for him. But it looks
Tumala and Riffle go for it again down at the chicane. Tumala goes straight through the chicane. He's going to have to give that place back to Riffle. I was just noticing that because they were coming up to Wicks, and I was like, no, don't all meet together in the middle. But they were fine. And yeah, that lottery he was talking about on the wheel worked for me in Monaco. I was so delighted. It's never worked for me ever in all of my sim racing career, and that was the first time it ever happened.
Yeah, indeed. It looks like, just looking about the replay, it looks like he went a bit too wide down into the chicane after the first sector. It looks like he just went a bit too wide, touched the grass, and that's what sent him off. He went straight off into the barrier. It just seems like a bit of a misplace of the car, which is what caused that. So a real shame for Mark. But he has, look at that, the lottery has done it. He has the wheel back on, and back out he goes. So there you go. He wins the lottery and continues on. Got a new Wixie. I always love the commitment to keep going, even in the face of adversity. It's always good to see.
Who's that in the pits behind? Is that it's Columbus? I wonder if that, because that's dropped him out of the top 10. He had a front wing. He'd overshot the pits a bit as well. I think he was just having a quick tyre change. He's gone to the prime on the very last lap, I think. Maybe. We'll have to triple check that. That's an unscheduled one. Let's put Pushka into 10th position, and it's the last lap of the race. So Pushka suddenly finds himself back in the top 10, and that will help him with his points haul. And it may actually leave him much closer with Redshaw, but Fidek will still take the lead if they all stay as they are now. Redshaw coming into the chicane for the hairpin for the very last time, as he makes the victory lap essentially. What's your thoughts on this one as we come up to the last couple of corners?
Well, I guess it's just been another. Kieran Wright nearly kind of a little retro there, but yeah, it's just been, I guess, a dominating performance again from Retro. He did this already earlier in the season, and here he is doing it again, just really, dominating the whole race from start to finish. It really has been, something to watch as he dominates from Fidek. So once again, great race to Retro as he wins here.
He does indeed. Lewis Redshaw knows how to go from lights to flag, and he wins the Canadian Grand Prix for GPVWC Super League 2015. Another class act from Redshaw. Pole position, the win. We'll check the fastest lap, but he's straight on to Donut City, and he'll be delighted with that one. Second will be, he's not there yet, is David Fidek. He's waving the flag as he comes across the line for Hawkeye in second. I think he's pleased with that, because I think that was a bit of a save. Third then will be Alex Cooper, who gets onto the podium. That will be good for him, as that will be his third podium of the year, so long as he gets it out of the... yes, he does. I just wanted to make sure first.
Oh, sorry, I'm just looking back, and Tumala's crashed out. Yeah, and oh boy, yeah, him and Riffle had it coming together into the chicane, the same place where the two Kernovs came together. It seems like, they did the same thing again. It seems like they both kind of went the right and sort of, blocked each other, and Riffle's gone up the back of him, sent him off, and he's had an almighty crash into the wall. Rear wing, his front wing, his rear wheel, a big crash, gone flipping in the air. And yeah, that's a real shame for him. But of course, he did do over 90% of the race, so he should classify in 13th. So that will still be a points result for Nijo. So double points for Chris. So fun times.
Is indeed. So that's a quick rundown through the order. We've got then Lewis Redshaw wins from David Fidek, Alex Cooper third, Augustin Canapino fourth, Tom Parker is in fifth position, Ruud Heasterbeek 6, Florian Gaia 7, Tom Vandervoort 8, then 1 lap down Fran Lopez 9, Philip Pushka's into 10th, Midigas Columbus 11, Marcus Riffel 12, Mikhail Tumala 13th, classified, ahead of 2 laps down Kieran Ryan for Phoenix 14, Kenny Lybeer gets Nijo points in 15th, still double for Nijo despite all of that, James Johnson 16th, 2 laps down for Adonis just outside the points, Mikko Jakinen in 17 for Phoenix, 3 laps down, Mark Wicks 18th, 4 laps down. Your retirements then were Bart de Vos, Davidus Misalis, Sandeep Choda, Roy Schroten, Jack Mayer, Dewalt Nell, Nick Rowland, Joel Tyan, Ollie Pelkonen and Jordan Weeks. And just to dive in, we're going to do this slightly out of order because poor Mr. Redshaw has just won the race. He's like, I need to go home. So let's just quickly dive in. What have you got there? Have you got takeaway?
No. I've got to drive home to Paynton. There this weekend.
Oh,
I only stayed here for the race.
Oh, that'd be worthwhile winning for.
It was.
So how was that for you? Because it seemed like a complete and utter fuckpot of carnage going on behind, but you was quite serene.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a bit mad, so I look forward to listening and watching that one. For me, it was absolutely perfect. I don't think it could have gone much better. Got pole quite easily. Wasn't a personal best, but I was driving testing on a lot warmer track temperature. In the race, just was able to sort of keep the gap, and then I always seem to have about 2 or 3 temps every lap, and then if I needed more, I could just very quickly bring it out and use it. Yeah, I didn't even have to look after the brakes or tire in the end. I just kept pushing. Yeah, absolutely perfect, really.
Yeah, indeed. No, it was a fantastic result. A really, really perfect drive, as you say. So well done for that. But as you're saying there with the brakes, so for you personally, you didn't really find the brakes were fading too much?
No, I did 2 race runs for testing for this. So I did like full race runs, one on overcast conditions and then one on sunny. And the brakes were absolutely fine on both of them. So I knew going into the race that I didn't have to worry. Also, we're running like max brake ducts and max brake discs, but I found a new way of braking as well, which seemed to help. I don't even think the temperatures were going red on grid at the end either. So, and I was pushing pretty much to the flag. So, yeah, I know a couple. I think was it Roy who retired with brakes? So, I'm see a couple of people had problems, but that might have been from damage or something like that. So, but no, mine were absolutely fine.
Grandiose, awesome. No, the other thing I'll just chuck in there as well. I believe that pops you into second now in the championship. Ooh. Because Pushka, I just have to triple check with my mathematicals, scored just 6 points there. So I believe that puts you in just ahead. So
excellent.
How's that looking? You've got a collection of faster tracks going up ahead, or the more faster flowing ones. Do you think that will suit your driving style in the car?
Well, Austria was, a good race for me last year. Avoiding the main incident, but pace-wise, it was really good. So I'm hoping to do the same sort of the sweep of what I did last year. But my tyre wear seems to be a lot better this year than last. So especially on sort of front limited circuits. So I'm really hoping Silverstone I can get a bit better. I've adjusted how I drive a lot in terms of the turn-in, and it does seem to be working. So fingers crossed we can have a battle. And then, hey, you'd have thought it'd be me and David at the top of the championship again. How weird. There's always one place ahead, isn't he?
Ah, bless. But I tell you what, we'll be looking forward to the next couple of races and seeing who just wins that Fair Play award.
Oh, I still haven't got that award. Where is it?
Bless. Go home.
Thank you. I'll see
something.
you later, guys.
Have a
Bye.
drink. Bye.
See you.
Yes, we're doing a bit of a... Well, let's do the rest of the interview since we dragged the poor buggers in here. And then we'll have a chinwag at the end and get our cameraman extraordinaire's opinion of things as well. Let's dive down then to Mr. Second, who, after your worst ever Super League result of 7th, disgraceful, Mr. Fidek, back to your usual tricks with a nice second, but seemingly in a little bit of... not no man's land, but you was a bit too fast for everyone behind you and not quite fast enough to keep Lewis on your toes today. But you was weaving as you crossed the line, so it almost felt like you'd won something.
Yep. It did feel like a win, to be honest, after the last 2 races. That was probably the most boring race I've had in sim racing, just out on my own, like you said. Yeah, the fronts, I couldn't heat up in the first stint, and Lewis got the gap. But I was pulling away from who was third, Canapino. Yeah, so I managed to get the gap to him, so there wasn't no point taking risks to keep up with Lewis. second stint was a bit better. Traded a couple of fastest laps with Lewis a couple of times, but again, I think he was just holding back a bit because he can just put him in whenever he wanted. He was just taking his time, I think. The plan was to go as long as I could on the options, and then whilst Lewis pitted early for his primes, I make the gap back while I'm still on my options, but he was just as quick on them, so that failed as well. Come out the pit in primes, probably about the same pace as Lewis, but wasn't enough to catch. I think he already had an 11, 12-second lead, so just looked after the car till the end. So yeah, after Monaco and whatever race it was before that, where I had a grid drop, yeah, I'm extremely happy with. Where was it? P2. It was so boring. I don't know where I finished.
Fair enough. No, it was a very good drive, as you said, a bit on your own and a bit of a boring land, but at least you still get that second place, which is always good. Next race, of course, Austria. What are your thoughts on that? Looking forward to
it? Yeah, definitely. We got an update for the car for Austria. So hopefully that pushes us a bit closer to Lewis, if hopefully a bit more in front. Like the track, go well there. Yeah. Last year was a bit off. I got stuck behind Nick most of the race at the start, but yeah, pushing as usual. Yeah, more looking forward to Silverstone.
Fair enough.
Sounds like you're a pregnant lady. But to be fair, though, actually, at the end of today, he's pushing all the time. But it was in my head that connected. But you are now championship leader.
Yeah, am I? Yeah, I was thinking during the race. Between me and Lewis, it's the exact same results as last year. Like he won Australia, I won Bahrain, then he won Canada and Austria. So he'll probably win Austria, then I'll win Silverstone. But yeah, it's nice to have the lead at the moment. I think it's the first time I've took the lead this season.
Yep.
And I normally go better as we go along. So yeah, let's see.
Warming it up. Thank you very much, Mr. Feidick.
Thank you.
And we'll just reserve your seat here for next one, I think. So we'll see how we go. That's cursed now, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Enough with the pregnant ladies, though, eh?
Okay. Yeah, I've got to stop those. I don't think my seed should be spreading. And Alex Cooper, next one up on the list, is slowly burning up from the back, and that is your third podium, your second third this season. And how was that for you? Because you had quite an interesting race up against Canapino, notably for the second half, where you was having to try and do a bit of an under-overcut, and it didn't. Well, yeah, it did work actually, because you came out ahead after all the pit stops popped out. So good strategy and good mind driving.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect anything at all, because in testing the cards felt so bad, but I got lucky with the turn 1, turn 2 incident, and I was in P4, stayed there for the first stint. Second stint, Canapino was a bit slower for I don't know what reason, but I got past him after he let me through after he spun me. And then when I went onto the primes, just push it as I could, and thankfully I stayed out ahead.
Indeed, and for the race coming up ahead, we got obviously Austria and Silverstone, and obviously Spa came up in about 4 or 5 rounds' time. What would be the one that you're most looking forward to in the near future in the championship?
Probably Silverstone, to be fair. Back to a proper track. Should be better, but I don't know. You never know. I like all the next few tracks. I'm not really too fussed.
Just quickly, actually, on that incident with Augustine, where he popped you from behind, so to speak. Talk us through that, and obviously sportsman-like behaviour. He let you back through again, but how is that from your perspective?
Well, I had really good top speed, so I thought I was ahead on the straight, and then turned into the chicane and just felt a hit from the side. But yeah, he let me through, so no big issue. I didn't get any damage or anything, so it's okay.
Awesome stuff. Well, we're going to celebrate your podium achievements. No doubt we'll be talking to you again soon, and also great to see you in the booth, Mr. Florian Geyer, who has quietly moved himself into a very strong 7th overall in the driver's standings, and certainly closing in on Fran Lopez, who's your next target ahead. in the Drivers' Championship. Another strong result for you. That marks your 5th top 10 finish to date.
Hello. Yeah, it was a pretty tough race for me. Didn't qualify too well, but just behind Augustin, so it shows the car didn't have much more in it, maybe a tenth or two. Start was okay, but I managed to avoid the trouble ahead in turn 1 and was P5. Couldn't quite keep up with Alex and the guys up ahead, so pretty much settled for P5. But after the first stop, I just had no pace, and when the rain started, it just was way too slow. So Tom and who was it? Root, they slowly catched me and overtook me soon after. Yeah, it was pretty boring for me as well. So just on my own most of the time. I didn't want to battle those guys because they were much faster anyway. Yeah, just try to keep it out of the wall. Yeah, and get some points home for our team.
Indeed, and I will just shout quickly for when you were having those couple of battles with Parker, Tom Parker, and that when they were coming past through the field, it was good to see some nice clean racing. So I'll just give a quick kudos for that after the early shenaniganry that happened in that race. But quick question about the tyres and brakes: were they good during that race, or sort of fading near the end?
No, brakes were pretty good all race. I had no problems with them. It was yeah, all alright. Just the prime tires in the end were just so cold, no temperature, and I dropped even more pace in the end. So I need to look into that for the next one. As cold tires are pretty my problem anyway, so gotta work on that a bit more, and hopefully next time we can get some more points.
Well, we'll have to ship you off to Barbados, mate, and see how you get on with that. Put the tyres in heat. Thank you very much to our 4 interviewees then, Alex, Florian, David and Lewis. Just a quick shout out there to our tweeters that were tweeting in throughout the evening. We do love to have you on the socials, medias and everything like that. Quentin, your cameraman extraordinaire, who stood out for you this evening?
I was looking through the race result and I was comparing it to the quali, and Marcus Riffel, he quite impressed because he finished 14 places up from his quali position in the race. So he really impressed me. But Lewis Redshaw, he qualified on pole and then dominated this race. So impressive stuff. Can he keep it going for Austria though?
Grand stuff. And obviously, Mr. Hinds, who's your drivers of the days?
Well, I'd say obviously Redshaw. I think obviously the domination, just fantastic drive all round. Really didn't put a foot wrong all race. It was just the perfect drive, really. Obviously David Fidek again, another solid second there. So some more great points, another great drive again, even if it was extremely boring. But fortunately, that can happen in these long races in sim racing. Again, Alex Cooper for getting another third. That's always great to see. Getting those podiums, and they'll always, obviously, getting those constant podiums always helps with the championship, and that will come to a head later on in the year when it all adds up, and that'll always help. Otherwise, double points finish for Nijo. I think that was good to see. I'm sure Chris will be very happy with that. That's good for them as they obviously need the points to challenge in the constructors. Yeah, aside from that, Noah Jones, some good points again. And Parker, another good race from him. Some more solid points for CSG. And I think a pretty solid comeback from both Fran Lopez and for the Pushka after obviously Fran starting at the back and Pushka having those shenanigans in the start of the race. So yeah, just solid comebacks there.
Grand stuff. Well, thank you very much to Quentin Plain as always, and Summer Since. Pleasure to have you with us. I've decided that actually after a very long day of team building, which doesn't often annoy everyone, and a bit of argy-bargy, it's time for me to pull up my alcoholic variety and do a little bit of Eurovision! So on that note, I think it is time to bid you all farewell, and you will see me in some kind of Europop trance until 2 weeks' time, where we'll be at the Austrian
Silverstone.
Silverstone. It's because you told me that we'd said it wrong, and then I was like, no, Austrian sausage in my head. I will be at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time for the British Grand Prix held in Austria, and it will be your Tuesday Formula Challenge, your Wednesday Super Cup, and back here on Super League for Thursday with your usual suspects kicking up dust all over the shop. Don't forget, if you're about on the Mondays, we've got International Touring Cars for your helpings twos, where we'll probably see some more action akin to this evening's. Apologies for the language, but quite frankly, shit happened. Till next time, you guys take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.